with a minute 54 to go.
There it is. Snap, placement. Kick is on its way. It's up, and it is no good. And the game ends. It's the Texans 20 and the Colts 20.
Hey, welcome in our first Blue Monday of the season. I wish that it was better. It could be worse. But we're going to get to both the good and the bad of what was yesterday. There wasn't a lot of good. I mean, really the only good part about it is at least you didn't lose. And then the rest of the division, meaning both Tennessee and Jacksonville, also lost, and especially Tennessee. And as of right now, you got a couple of tied teams atop the AFC South. I know it's really early in the season. I do want to tell you about this first things first. We are downtown at Buffalo Wild Wings downtown today with our friends of Bud Light. We've got stuff to give away. I'll tell you what that stuff is. I just want to see you down here because I know we've got a lot to go over, a lot to talk about, and you're probably going to be a bit hungover on the consistent negativity of yesterday. And if you currently do have a hangover because of that, you know, you're going to have to get used to it because that's how, for 3 quarters, this team played. This team played for 3 quarters in a way, in a fashion of which you can't get out of the fact that it was awful. I said this, and I don't know if there's any connection other than the head coach we'll get into in a second. I don't know if there's a relatable or a connection, but just for a moment, allow yourself to think about it. And I know that there have been changes, quarterback change, defensive coordinator changes. It's another year. You know, it's 6 months, whatever ago, 7 months ago, whatever it has been. So maybe it's not relatable, but to me, it is relatable. You have the entire offseason. And we talked to these guys. These guys soaked up the fact that it was embarrassing the way that they went out a year ago in Jacksonville. Now, the difference is there was a playoff berth with a win on the line, and this is week number 1. That's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is you go through the entirety of an offseason where it has been a constant negative. A constant negative this, negative that, this doesn't work, this doesn't work. And you even change things up in camp to hopefully come out with, how would you explain it? A little bit more game speed preparation, if you want to call it being ready, which I will, in terms of the head coach. They played 3 quarters yesterday and it looked like that they weren't ready for anything. Seriously, those 3 quarters were as bad as what you saw those 4 quarters back in January in Jacksonville. So to me, I think you can make that relatable. Now, granted, I'll come back to this in a second. You can get to that final quarter in the 4th, and they stepped up and got back into it. And altogether, should have, doesn't matter, should have, doesn't matter, should have won if you had anybody that is worthy confidence-wise of leading on at kicker. This is something, by the way, we talked about in camp, and I think it was a guy named Sean. Somebody kept getting on me. Why are you worried about this? He's going to be fine. He's not going anywhere. He's fine. He's not fine. He costs you a game, and you can be satisfied with the tie all you want, but that and an ill-advised 4th down call from your head coach really helped decide this game, and also a rookie drop in the end zone. Because I would agree with that. You go all the way back to that Alec Pierce drop of a touchdown pass in the end zone, and that really started everything to go avalanche-wise downhill. That's where it started. Things could have been different. But the head coach could have made it different as well. And running the Wildcat, I don't care. You go 4th down, go. Go on 4th down. But running the Wildcat in that situation was ridiculous. It was a ridiculous call from a guy as a head coach that needs better. Again, you can say what you want about this being a tie, and that's fine. But we're reactionary to what took place yesterday. And what took place yesterday, other than the 4th quarter, didn't look that much better than what we saw going all the way back to January. There's some things you can pick out. There's no doubt 28 and 11 are absolute studs. 28 and 11, and they both lead. Those are really the only guys I'm cool with listening to right now. Because they both lead, and they both lead in different ways. It was a struggle early for Jonathan Taylor. Defensively, Houston was pinched. They were forcing him outside. Wasn't much there. He stayed after it, and then some. He leads by example. 11 leads, and I love this about him. 11 is going to fight you. And we talked about this back in camp. Michael Pittman Jr. is going to fight you. Michael Pittman Jr., to me, seems like he takes all of that, and I hear it all the time, all of the, hey, this guy is not really a number one, he is a number two. Michael Pittman Jr. is a number one on this team in search of anybody that can come close to being a number two. In fact, he's a number one that probably has a 3, 4, and 5. There's probably not a number two. I love the way that he absolutely leads. Love it. He's going to fight you. Jonathan Taylor is going to lead by example. And those are really the only two guys I want to hear from. So you said you wanted some positive. There's some positive. Those two guys were top-notch. And you could get into a little bit more. Grover Stewart, I thought, played well. You can look in that secondary. I think people were pretty happy with Stephon Gilmore. Overall, defensively, incredibly disappointed. I took the whole offseason and talked about how I could not wait, how so excited I was about being able to say this defense is going to be that much better and being able to talk about this defense having a difference maker coming off the edge. And we had him on the show in Yannick Ngakoue. That's the expectation. He got tunsled yesterday. I guess Tunsil is kind of equating to canceled because he got taken out of everything yesterday. Everything that I hope to see from that defensive front, really other than Grover Stewart, everything was taken away until we saw in the fourth late Kwity Paye. Kwity Paye on the same series, a couple of sacks. There is no doubt it was big, and I don't want to take anything away from it. If you watch on one of those sacks, Mills probably had a check down opportunity that he didn't go to and kind of held on to it, but still doesn't matter. 2 sacks, that is good. But really everybody else, what are we looking for here? And the overall issue to start a season still does prevail. You have gone through all these changes in quarterback. We're talking about Matt Ryan this year, Carson Wentz last year. Phillip Rivers prior to that, Jacoby Brissett. You can go back year after year after year. And the only common theme, the only common denominator to the way these teams have started and so woefully began the season is the head coach. That is a major focus of today. The major focus of today is how can a team for 3 quarters, not a first quarter, not a half a play, not the first couple of minutes, not a series or two, but 3 quarters of not just, below average football, but 3 quarters of god-awful football, akin to what we saw at the end of last year. Somebody is going to have to, with more knowledge than me, explain to me how that can possibly happen. To a man, we ask, because this was such a focus in the offseason. When we had a player on, normally we would ask, all right, so how long did you think about last year? How long did that hang with you? And there was no doubt they had offseason focus. So how do you go from that to playing 3 quarters of that football? It was not going to take much to beat that Houston team. I know everybody looks at Houston, hey, they're going to be tough, and that does come down to week number 1. Week number 1, even the worst in the NFL have a great deal of hope. You're still leaning on hope. And Houston had hope. You saw when that hope ended. In the fourth quarter, they started to get gassed. They wanted to try to protect that lead. And then finally the Colts stepped up and did something. So what about the first 3? This is the type of inconsistency that really has haunted this Frank Reich era. And this is something this guy has to get clarified, or somebody else is going to end up doing it. People don't lie. People are accurate. They have some talented guys on this team. We've said this before. At the top level, they're really talented. Not at every position, but at the top level, at many positions, they have what anybody might be looking for. So why the start of the season results? Why the 3 quarters and then having to get back into it and then ultimately losing the game on a kick in a kicking situation in which we have talked about for a long time now? How concerned you are, how inadequate it has been, how you have to have somebody better. That has to be a focus right now. You have to be looking around right now. I don't know about anybody else, and this probably sounds more like hindsight is 2020, and I don't mean this to be. I was thinking about it at the time, and maybe that there is nothing to draw in comparison to it about, but you look back at those 2 balls that he kicked out of bounds, and did anybody else out there, I mean, honestly, and it's okay. Again, I'm working with hindsight here. You can also work with hindsight. Anybody else have the feeling that both of those situations, not a bad omen, that's the wrong thing to say, but maybe didn't have his head in the right place? Now, between those 2 things, he kicked an extra point, right? But did it make you wonder when he had those 2 major special teams gaffes on kickoffs that maybe when he trotted out there, because a lot of people were suggesting, well, I can't believe the Colts did this. Why did they go to the right hash mark? They should have gone to the left hash mark. Here's the thing. I don't think he'd have been good from the left. Because that thing, he kicked that, and that slice square right. It was incredibly Vanderjackian. Square right. So I don't know if Ryan wouldn't have lost those yards. I think, too, Kyle can remind me of this, that 3rd and 5, and a lot of people are going 3rd and 5, and, Ryan ends up taking the loss there. You saw what play that they had dialed up. They had that play that they dialed up to Michael Pittman Jr. earlier in the game that pulled off a huge chunk of yardage. It was that wide receiver. He was kind of dragging across the field, and Houston either read that or were more prepared for it because they covered him up. I think Taylor was a safety valve who was covered up. There may have been a bit of a lane from Mo Alley Cox, who was a little bit more over the middle when Ryan was scrambling right, but he did have a linebacker between he and Ryan in the line of sight, and everything else was basically covered. That was kind of that do-or-die drag, wide receiver drag, that Michael Pittman Jr. got so much yardage, out of Pryor, but Houston defensively looked more prepared for it. And then you leave it up to your kicker, and, the kicker that we've all questioned for a while, is there anything else out there? They bring in Jake Verity. That wasn't even a fair fight. That guy wasn't ready for anything here. The right guy in camp won the job, but he's not the right guy for the job right now. You can't have that happen. I don't care if it is a tie and it's not a loss. You cannot have that happen. We're still talking about the Houston Texans, and everybody makes how, this is a really good team, but nobody knows. It's not a really good team. It was a team that in the 4th quarter let this group back in. And hopefully you can play off of that a little bit if you are this team. But they did let this team back in the 4th quarter. Why does it come to that? How in the world do you have 7 consecutive quarters, and we're talking historically bad stuff? The entirety of that game in Jacksonville in the first 3 quarters, that's the thing I thought about yesterday was, man, this feels like so reminiscent of that entire game in Jacksonville. How can that be when this offseason and this training camp, the start was so prioritized? And here's what I get to. It wasn't Houston playing at a high level and was just doing this to the Colts. It was the Colts doing this to themselves. Penalties. Inconsistent offensive line play. Inconsistent defensive line play. And especially with that offensive line where they top 3 paid right now, Braden Smith, I'm sorry, Braden Smith was an absolute mess yesterday. He's a mess. Offensive line has to be better. And you can look, I think, a little bit at Matthew Pryor. What'd he get? And they put Rainmann in there for a bit. I was told that, and we'll have to find this out, I guess, either today or later on in the week, that was kind of the plan to get him some reps anyway. I think some people kind of viewed that as, oh, my goodness, what are they doing? But Pryor, I think, took 87% of the snaps. But I will say this, Matt Ryan was moving around and probably a lot more than he would want to do. Simply put, the offensive line has to be a lot better. Why? Because they are simply paid to be a lot better. You got to be. No way around it. Defensive line has to be better. There may not have been an aspect that I was more disappointed on than what I saw compared to what I expected from that defensive line. Especially with Ngakoue. You know, and maybe you're just going up against Laramie Tunsil, I'm assuming is one of the better left tackles in the NFL. Maybe it was just Tunsil that was just dominant against Ngakoue, but that was not at all the type of performance that I or anybody else, I think, that was excited about this defense, especially up front, expected. Can't be that way. So I know everybody wants to go on the missed kick, and that's fine because that did cost them the game. A lot of people want to talk about the 4th and 2 call in the first half. That's fine because you can view that as costing them the game. Talk about Alec Pierce dropping that touchdown pass, potential touchdown pass. You can talk about that because that also can be viewed as costing them the game. But let's set all that to the side for a moment. What truly cost them the game is the 3-quarter hole that they dug, which should be inexplicable to anybody. How in the world you're not more prepared to come out and play after the way that their season ended back in January than what we saw yesterday? That was inexcusable to me. You know, a lot of people want to say, well, you know, Blankenship, that's inexcusable, missing that. Okay, fine. I'll listen to it. You know, the call by Frank's inexcusable. To me, the way this team, the way his team looked, that he values so much, that he trusts so much, they did not come out. 3 quarters it took them to get into gear. Why is that? How can that possibly be? And again, it's not just below average football. That was the lowest of the low. That was terrible. After that offseason, after all that you tried to learn, all that you tried to do to make it better. Well, when you think about it, too, think about what we're leaning on. Here's where we are today. We are so used to, there's a guy that's been all up my ass about, well, negative this and negative that. Give me something positive to talk about. I brought it up. 11 and 28 is positive. I'll talk about those two guys all day. But you're not going to get me in any stinking world to tell you on this 3-hour radio show that what we saw for that game was acceptable. It just wasn't. Oh, well, they still have a chance. Of course they still have a chance. Again, that was a premium game. Well, they didn't lose. Who cares? They didn't win either. Think about what position you're trying to find a little bit, thank you, Michelle, of enjoyment regarding today. That the rest of the division sucks? Think about that for a moment. Think about how ridiculous that sounds. Well, you know, it's a good thing because the rest of the division sucks. I think that's good as a punchline. I think that can be funny as a punchline, but you don't want to use that as your actual opinion because they're going to play teams. Kansas City in week 3, the home opener. Did you watch the way that they came out? Oh, well, they're going to miss a beat. You know, they're going to miss Tyreek Hill. They look like they missed Tyreek Hill yesterday at all. I know what they did at wide receiver when they lost Tyreek Hill. Didn't they cobble a little something together with Valdez-Scantling and Smith-Schuster to help them out a little bit more for, what, $10, $11, $12 million? I'd have to look on what they're paying them. And still we talk about some of these, in this case, the same circumstances that we were talking about last year. I don't care. I really don't. I don't care what Carson Wentz did in Washington. I don't care what Brissett did in Carolina. I don't care what Eberflus did in Chicago or what Sirianni did in Detroit. I care about what goes on around here. And again, there's only one common denominator, only one common theme that has really been an issue with this team that they haven't tried to address, and that is the head coach as to why they come out this flat-footed so often. It just can't happen. So, listen, you're right. You can look at it, at least they didn't lose. But they're sure as hell not winning me over by a fourth quarter compared to the 3 quarters that we witnessed. It's just inexcusable. Man, somebody's going to have a bad game here or there. But those 3 quarters, I mean, everybody but 2 dudes, really. And listen, Matt Ryan, to me, was pretty good. Matt Ryan, to me, I will tell you this. I think Matt Ryan at quarterback is something that is workable. Something that is workable for this team if the rest of it is. If we still don't have to keep going back and asking questions about, well, who is the 2 wide receiver? Who's the 3? Who's the 4? Looks like they have a 1 and a couple of 5s. Oh, Kylan Granson got into it a little bit, and so did Mo Alley Cox. But again, it was in scramble mode, and you look at that fourth quarter, and I want to give credit where credit is due, because at least they got back into it. But again, that does not cover up the fact that that was a completely high level of lame-ass football played for 3 quarters. Why? How can that possibly happen? Well, the team that you were playing, it wasn't anything to do with the team you were playing. It was what they were doing to themselves. That simply cannot happen. So you're allowed to feel a couple of different ways today. You're allowed to feel like, hey, this could be much worse, and it certainly could be worse. But at the same time, it's not like that you carry this over to week number 2 and go, all right, here we go. Now they found their groove. And once again, you kind of find yourself with this Colts team, unfortunately, with way more questions than you do have answers. See if we can lock down some of those answers over the course of the afternoon. I would love to see you down here. Hey, Sienna, what are we giving away? A pair of tickets to the Chiefs and the Colts game? You know which one it is? I'm pretty sure it is as well. My man Billy is here. I've got the Ice Cold Bud Light going for you, too. 275 pints. Thank you, Michelle, for that. Ice Cold Bud Light. And we have the Bud Light robot that's rolling around here right now. It's like R2-D2 with beer. I've never seen R2-D2 roll around with beer. That's exactly what it looks like. We have it here. We are downtown. We are with Bud Light on a Blue Monday. So I've got time for your calls all afternoon long. Is that not right, Bill? That looks like R2-D2 with beer right there. It's incredible. Here, he's coming over here to see me, too. They say that they can put my face on that. Would I look good as a robot? All right, anyway, let's get this thing started. 239-1070, email address, JMV at 1070thefan.com. Check that, not anymore. JMV at radio-1.com. And a lot of you are asking about this over the weekend. It is JMV at radio-1.com is my new email address if you guys want to get that in as well. At JMV 1070, still as we normally have seen it, and Inside the Lounge via YouTube Live, where I'm assuming a lot of people are going to be in there. I'll go ahead and log on in a second and get involved as well. I wanted to leave plenty of time, certainly for me, and a lot of time for you. No, not everything was negative, but there is no way you can take away from that 3 quarters of play and feel good about this. Hey, if they can flip the switch and change it tomorrow, then so be it. If it's a different team in week 2 in Jacksonville, then so be it. But that was a 3-quarter mess that not even a resurgent 4th quarter could save. And we're talking about a lot of the same old things that we historically talk about on a Monday around here. And frankly, I think everybody should be tired of it. Should be tired of it. Lack of execution, coaching faux pas, missed opportunities, and frankly, players that are paid to play better should be playing better that didn't. And a 3-quarter no-show which is inexplicable and certainly inexcusable. All right, 239-1070. We'll get to your phone calls inside the lounge, again, via YouTube Live right there. I'd love to see you down here. We are at Buffalo Wild Wings downtown on Washington Street. This is the first of many this season, Bud Light Blue Mondays. This is, well, us wanting you to get here and get served by the robot who's coming over here right now. That's strong. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Back with you next.
Back, and so is your chance to win with BetRivers Sportsbook app. Featuring our new multi-game same-game parlay. Combine the action of multiple same-game parlays in one bet for more action and bigger payouts. Bet the spread, bet the over, bet player props, and more. Throw in daily odds boost plus award-winning customer service, and it's a touchdown. Download it today.
Must be 21 plus. Available in Indiana only. Void where prohibited. Terms and conditions apply. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Dan Dockage here. I'm here to tell you about Moondrops Distillery, classic spirits from the heart of Fortville, Indiana. Let's talk about their vodka, a premium, crisp, and clean spirit with exceptional taste that passes through a custom-built charcoal filtration process. Recently won the gold medal in the Micro Liquor Spirits Award competition also. Pick up a bottle of their new Bonfire Blends, Lemon Shake-Up, and Peppermint, plus other classic bourbon and rum. MoondropsDistillery.com to find a retailer. Moondrops Distillery. Experience something special.
My name is Kayla Cinders, and I work for Gleaners Food Bank. I am a local service manager for 3 counties in our 21-county service area, and I nominated Katie.
And I'm Jiffy Lube owner Steve Sanner. At Jiffy Lube, we are proud to support Hoosier charities that use their vehicles to do more to make Indiana a better place to live.
My name is Katie Wilkerson. I pick up at the mobile food pantries. The best part of volunteering to hand someone some food and see the smile on their face, the relief. Without my vehicle, there's no way I'd be able to do this. To go to any of the pantries, it's at least 18 miles.
Jiffy Lube of Indiana provides all of our Do More winners with free vehicle maintenance for a year. Because now at Jiffy Lube, our trained technicians do more to keep vehicles like theirs and yours on the road. Brakes, tires, batteries, and more. As well as Indiana's favorite oil change since 1985.
Jiffy Lube accepts competitors' coupons, so you don't have to choose between saving a few dollars versus treating your vehicle to Jiffy Lube's award-winning service. Click on JiffyLubeIndiana.com for a Jiffy Lube near you.
Circle K is America's thirst stop. And yours, especially when the weather gets... and you need to stay refreshed on the go with ice-cold Circle K favorites like freshly ground iced coffee, Froster, Polar Pop Cup, and more. Think of it as the ultimate thirst-quenching, totally rehydrating summer splash zone. When life's go, 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 make us your first stop. Because Circle K is America's thirst stop.
It's the best offer of the year at Diamonds Direct. 5 years, zero interest financing. And this weekend, the focus is on Christopher Designs. Handcrafted in New York, Christopher is one of the only bridal designers that offers a patented diamond cut, the L'Amour cut. We've flown in the entire Christopher Designs collection for this special event. So come and create a ring as unique as you are this Friday and Saturday. And enjoy 5 years, zero interest financing on any purchase on approved credit. Only at Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Hey, it's JMV. Did you know the lack of sleep from snoring can lead to other health issues for both the snorer and the snorer's partner? My friends at Aurora Specialty Sleep Clinic can help you. Meet the friendly, helpful, and knowledgeable staff and work with Dr. Steve Green. Yeah, you know, Steve Green from IU basketball fame, the co-founder and clinical director who wants to get everyone a better night's sleep. A better night's sleep is just an appointment away. It helped me. It can help you. StopYourSnoreNow.com or 317-482-7900 today.
Verizon Connect has a new AI dash cam with dual cameras. It's sleek, simple, and easy to install. Oh, and did I mention, it's AI smart. It'll give your team real-time alerts.
Tailgating.
And each video is automatically classified and sent to your team, giving you context to help coach your drivers. Best yet, it seamlessly works in one platform that tracks your vehicles, dispatches jobs, and much more. See how Verizon Connect can help manage your fleet at VerizonConnect.com/radio.
Jay Query here. Are you ready for Thursday Night Football? Feel the excitement of opening night with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. DraftKings is giving new customers a can't-miss offer to celebrate the start of a new season. Bet just $5 on Thursday's game and get $200 in free bets instantly. And as an added bonus for Thursday, everyone can experience the thrill of DraftKings early win promotion. It's simple. Bet on Buffalo or LA to win. If your team leads by 7 at any point during the game, you get paid even if your team loses. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code 1075FAN to get $200 in free bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on Thursday Night Football. That's code 1075FAN only at DraftKings Sportsbook app, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older, Indiana only. Bonus issued as free bets. One early win token issued at opt-in. Moneyline bets only. Deposit and wagering restrictions apply. Eligibility and terms at DraftKings.com/football. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Rally House, shop every team in town. College and pro, come on, it's time to go.
Get ready for kickoff, Indy. Rally House has the game day gear you're looking for, including Colts sideline gear and the latest college styles.
Pacers, Colts, Indiana Hoosiers, Boilermakers, Bulldogs, Fighting Irish. Rally House, it's your city, it's your house, it's a Rally House.
Gear up in-store and online at rallyhouse.com.
It's the biggest open-wheel racing weekend of the year, featuring the Outlaws, All-Stars, and USAC. The Four Crown Nationals, September 23rd and 24th. Buy your tickets now at EldoraSpeedway.com.
Put on your helmet. It's about to get real.
Coach Gus Bradley, give me your assessment of the talent level defensively.
I'm really excited about this group. You hope that you have a veteran presence that's a strong leader. Guys like Grove and Yannick and Buck. You look at the linebacking crew, Shaq and Zaire and Bobby, and then the secondary, Kenny, Julian back there. It's got a good mixture. Not only good people, but play at a high level.
Dan Dockage, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
I don't understand a word you just said.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Davis Mills under center, ball in the far hash. Brevin Jordan, the tight end, motions to the right side. Rex Burkhead is the back. They play action to him. Great protection for Davis Mills, but time runs out, and the Colts bring him down for sack number 2. It's Quiddy Pay. He had 4 sacks last year as a rookie. There's his first in 2022 in year number 2. A huge loss for the Colts defense on first down.
Matt Taylor right there, the voice of the Colts. Yesterday, the season opener on the road in Houston for the Colts ended in a 20-20 draw. Now, we're well past a stage in which you should have ties, right? Especially in the NFL, but that doesn't matter right now. That is just that's kind of like the other thing that stuck out to me that you can make an argument about that doesn't matter right now. It just doesn't. In the grand scheme of what the Colts did and what they didn't do yesterday was that defensive pass interference that was called on Kenny Moore was absurd. It was awful. But again, there was way too much negative to bring that in and go, well, that was a big deal. And what concerned me the most out of anything is you got 3/4 of the Colts making the mistakes. They made their own issues. Wasn't like what you saw the Chiefs going on the road at Arizona. Now, the problem the Cardinals had with the Chiefs, the Chiefs came out and rolled them up. The problem the Colts had with the Texans yesterday, that was created by the Colts. And again, we've been pointing a finger at everybody, and my legitimate concern is the first 3 quarters. I guess I could ask you this. If we had a Connecticut water question of the day, I think this is a decent question. Connecticut water question of the day. Inside the lounge via YouTube Live, you can answer this as well. Do you think that this Colts team, what we saw yesterday, is now in week 2 going to be more about what we saw in the fourth quarter or more about closer to what we saw in the first 3? Is there anything that you can count on? And for those of you who are asking right now, you absolutely have to look for a new kicker. You do. I don't know if you're going to find it this week, but you ought to be looking right now. You cannot have that. You got to be looking right now. No question about it. But what are they more about? Are they more about the first 3 that we saw yesterday? I was shocked that more wasn't made of that. I think what happens is when you watch games like that and you're watching it in real time, and see, I always kind of craft what I tweet out to represent when I'm tweeting it out. Because if you're not, you're constantly going to get, horse's rear end saying, well, look at you now. That tweet aged well. No, I want you to know when I put this together, when I cobbled it together, when I sent it, so for the sake of context, it makes sense. And I'm not just going to start shooting off half-cocked during games. But that's what struck me. What struck me was those three quarters, to me, were so representative of what we saw in that final game in Jacksonville. They had the entire off-season and a training camp where the focus was to get off to a good start. They didn't even get off to a mediocre or a bad start. They were dismal for three quarters. Why? Why is that? It sure as hell wasn't Houston forcing their will upon them. It was the Colts doing in the Colts. And everything has been changed. Everything has been maneuvered. Everything has been reevaluated. The one common theme has been the head coach. Have different quarterbacks, different defensive coordinators. How do you view that? But is your expectation more of what you saw in the fourth quarter or more of what you saw for the first three yesterday? I think that's worthy of a Connecticut Water question of the day. You guys can dive in that inside the lounge via YouTube Live as well. We got the robot rolling around here. We're downtown. I've got Chiefs-Colts tickets to give away. I'll tell you, this game is still, for this Colts opener, going to be premium. So if I were you, I'd get down here and sign up for them. Downtown, Buffalo Wild Wings. This is what we want to call the Bud Light Blue Monday. Buffalo Wild Wings locations throughout central Indiana. We start right here downtown on Washington Street. All right, 239-1070 is that number. First up today is Bob. Bob, welcome to the show. How are you?
How you doing? Just want to talk. I think you're making a mistake about talking about three bad quarters of football. I agree with you with missed opportunities. But the game in the first quarter, the Colts had the ball for 12 and a half minutes. Houston had it for 2.5 minutes. Colts had 7 first downs. They had none. Their offense had 2 3-and-outs. We started the game with a 3-and-out. Then we had a 10-play drive for a field goal. Then we had a 6-play drive where we got the ball at the 2-yard line. Alex Pierce dropped the touchdown. We decided to go for it on 4th down. But the first quarter, think about it. We go to Jacksonville this week, and we have the ball for 12 and a half minutes in the first quarter, have 7 first downs and none for them. They go 2 3-and-outs. Would you consider that a great quarter, except, like you said, we didn't cash in?
The problems I'm talking about here are long-standing problems, 2 of which that you allude to. One is a guy dropping a touchdown pass. That's a wide receiver issue, a pass-catching issue. And the other is a coach decision-making issue. That helps lead to the bad. I just don't – I guess I get what you're saying, but yes. I don't equate enough to what you saw under that particular microscope to make up for the rest of, to me, what I thought were really horrible 3 quarters of football. That's just me. Now, granted, you're right. You're right. Hey, if Pierce catches that, let's say, for example, Bob, they go up 10-0, then that could change the entire complexion of the game. But that didn't happen. And we're going on how it looked, and that's certainly how it looked to me yesterday.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate it.
You got it, Bob. You call anytime. Thank you. Chris is up next at 239-1070. Chris, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going? I'll try to keep it brief. I know there's plenty behind me that probably want to whine and moan as much as I'm going to, but I guess I'll start positive. I thought Matt Ryan, other than the interception, which sucked, looked pretty good. He moved around in the pocket pretty well. He shouldn't have had to move around in the pocket as much as he did, but he looked mobile. He had some good balls. Throwing balls on ropes, which was good. Other than that, going into the game, Quentin Nelson obviously got re-signed, and I think it's like 6 out of 11 draft picks from 2018 have been extended. And there's all this bragging about it, but the frustrating part is you don't get to actually see that translate into anything because the coach can't get out of his own way. I mean, for being an offensive guru and some football genius, he can't get out of his own way. He makes the simplest level of football so overly complicated. You just don't really know what this team has because of him.
Yeah, that to me was inexplicable yesterday. And listen, all right, we'll just say, for example, well, everybody's going to expect Jonathan Taylor. We're going to do something different. No, don't. You're right. You got the highest paid offensive line right now, right, Kyle, in the NFL?
Yep, number one.
You just gave Quentin Nelson a left guard. That new contract, $20 million per year the night before. Go with that. But to implement that Wildcat under those circumstances was ridiculous, and that was very Frank Reich. You're right about that.
Yep. Yeah, and it's just, we'll see what happens. I would have liked to see, and I don't know if this is a Reich decision or if it was just what Matt Ryan was taking what was given. I would have liked to see us press the ball downfield a little bit more. Maybe early on that could have opened up JT for some of those inside runs that were kind of getting stuffed. But overall, we got a lot of talent on the team. Hopefully we adjust this year the way we did last year and come out with some wins. But there's something that's got to be done about coaching. We'll see what happens there, I guess.
It drives a lot of people nuts, Chris. Thank you very much. You could tell. You go back and you watch the video of this if you want. Again, those first three quarters might make you a little bit sick, but if you were to go back and watch, you saw a lot of padding of the football of Matt Ryan. So that tells me that they wanted to go downfield, but there was nobody, either A or B here, either nobody was open down the field quickly enough, or the offensive line was struggling to protect long enough for somebody to get open. Either way, that's problematic on each side. But you do see a lot of that. You see a lot of ball padding and waiting a little bit longer, clearly, than Ryan wanted to wait. I will say this, for everybody that called him a statue and said he couldn't move, my man was moving at 37 yesterday. He was moving out of necessity. He was moving. He took some hits. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman Jr., I thought, were fantastic yesterday. I don't normally want to hear any more about Michael Pittman Jr. not being a number one, because I think he is stepping into that category right now as we see it. But I don't want to take that particular edge away from him. So I think it's okay for Colts fans to continue to say, hey, this guy's not a number one. You need a number one, because it pisses him off and he goes at it harder. That dude is a fighter. He is a fighter, and I love that. Jonathan Taylor is a fighter, but certainly is downplayed personality-wise much more. Those two guys came for a fight. For three quarters, you had a lot of these other guys you would expect not show up too much. Jonah in Arizona is up next at 239-1070. Jonah, welcome back to the show.
JMV, on a scale of 1 to 0, how much do you miss me?
Well, if you were to bring any good fortune or something around here, because here's where we are with a lot of sports, Jonah, around here. Like, everybody is cheering on this tie, and I guess that makes me negative. But I just look at the three quarters of dismal football and look at a tie where you had the opportunity so many different times in so many different areas to do something to not exactly put away early in the game, but you put yourself in a better position. And then, the end-game result with a kicking situation we've talked about for, a number of months now. It's inexplicable to me why this stuff still occurs, and you get people that are saying, hallelujah, there's a tie. I just don't happen to be one. It's better than a loss. That's it. That's all I'll give you.
Before the game starts, if you learn that it's going to be a tie game, you're going to be disappointed. But after three quarters, if you learn there's going to be a tie, then you're thrilled at this point, because I
know, just not the way that it went down. Yeah, the tie after three quarters, okay. After the miss by Blankenship, when we have gone over and over, I realize, Jonah, these football guys over there are stratospherically smarter than any of us clowns. Then why do I keep talking about the same things that they don't get cleared up? Why is that? I'm not suggesting I'm smarter at all, but what I continue to talk about still clearly is issue in both categories here, whether we're talking about kicking a wide receiver. It drives you nuts.
I'm with you there. Once the Colts moved down the field, I thought this was a game over. But a couple things I wanted to bring up. First of all, why did Jonathan Taylor gingerly go out of bounds on third down, 3rd and 3?
He misread it.
Did he, I guess, because I don't know if you have misread it or thought it was only second down, because he's usually fighting for that extra yard to get to that first down. So that was kind of
I thought he thought either there was second down, or I didn't know if he knew that they had timeouts. It was something like that, because that's not him, but that was a mistake. No question.
That was definitely bizarre. And second of all, well, I want to get to another point, but you're right about Frank Reich, or the last caller about Frank Reich. I don't mind his aggressive nature, but if you're going to try to get too cute on fourth down on a very crucial play, on a play that we've never seen before, I just play up to your strengths. I don't understand those types of play calls. And one last thing, we already know that Hot Rod, or as I call him, Cold Rod, struggles beyond 40 yards. So why did the last two plays before he kicked that 42-yarder, did we go negative, 8 yards? I didn't understand that at all. We were trying to, because Matt Ryan scrambled around and then got it below the 2-minute warning in overtime. It just seemed like Frank Reich was trying not to lose instead of cutting the jugular there. So a couple of questionable calls, but I do think the Colts rebounded.
Okay. On that 3rd and 5, is that what you're talking about? Was that the Michael Pittman Jr. drag that I had mentioned? They were trying to run that play that went for big yardage earlier, and that was that Michael Pittman Jr. drag play, and it was covered. And then I think Mo Alley Cox was in the center of the field. It wasn't great coverage, but a linebacker certainly was between he and Matt Ryan's line of sight. And then I think Taylor was a safety valve, and he was covered up. So Ryan didn't have a lot to do right there other than kind of eat it. It did look like, Jonah, I will say this, it looked like that he was trying to set Blankenship up on the right hash. But if you look back on that kick, the loss of yardage, right hash, if it had been on the left hash and up, 3 yards, 5 yards more, it looked to me like it was still going to go wide right, because he sliced the hell out of it. I think Jonah is gone right there. He sliced the hell out of it. It was very Vanderjackian. That thing, you could just tell as soon as that off his foot, as soon as that thing caught a little bit of air, it just sliced dead right and had no chance. But I do understand what they're trying to do on that offensive play, because it works so well. And if you look back on it, I think, and I'd have to ask Rick Venturi this, who was there and watching, and I'm sure has watched that tape, it looked like the same play that went for big yardage earlier in the game. Quick thought. All right, we're at Buffalo Wild Wings. We're downtown. I've got Chiefs Colts tickets to give away courtesy of Bud Light. We've got 275 pints. You can come down and enjoy an ice-cold Bud Light with me. I would love to see you down here. And we have the robot that is working the room right now, honestly working the room better than me. But Chiefs Colts tickets to give away for that home opener. It was a 20-20 tie. And what I'm doing is letting everybody let it out at 239-1070. More to come on this Monday edition of this show. It's 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Tune in to Kevin and Query this week around 9:30 for a chance to participate in the Daily Pop Quiz. If you win, you'll receive a Jiffy Lube signature oil change.
Football is back, and so is your chance to win with BetRivers Sportsbook app. Featuring our new multi-game same-game parlay. Combine the action of multiple same-game parlays in one bet for more action and bigger payouts. Bet the spread, bet the over, bet player props, and more. Throw in daily odds boost plus award-winning customer service, and it's a touchdown. Download it today.
Must be 21 plus. Available in Indiana only. Void where prohibited. Terms and conditions apply. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hey, Sean for BullseyeEventGroup.com. This is the Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. Here's what happens. You get this bad boy fired up coming up in week number 3. That's the Colts home opener against the Chiefs. They've got all the passes for you. Eat, to drink, to enjoy the entertainment of DJ Skids, all together inside the Bullseye Event Center. Get those passes today. You can combo that up with tickets to the game at bullseyeeventgroup.com. And remember, coming up in November, we're all going to Vegas. I want you to be a part of this. Our trip to Vegas with bullseyeeventgroup.com. We're going to Caesars. It's a chartered flight to and from, not to mention the fact that there is going to be a fantastic Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration before the game out in Vegas coming up in November. Make sure you're prepared for week 3 and for that Vegas trip in November. Log on, get your passes and your tickets now. BullseyeEventGroup.com.
Are you tired of dealing with the indifference of big corporate suppliers in the construction industry? Quality Supply and Tool understands, which is why for over 25 years, they've taken a customer-first approach. Quality Supply and Tool has locations in Bloomington, Jeffersonville, and at 5722 South Harding Street in Indy, stocked full of inventory for those in the concrete and masonry trade, those who need building materials, and contractors who need industrial-grade tools that will work as hard as they do. And that includes weekend warriors. Partner with Quality Supply and Tool on your next project and think outside the box. Store.
Hey, John, for PAI, it's WeGrowHairIndy.com. I'm trying to set you up with real growing hair if you want it. It's 888-724-5129. Real growing hair is just a phone call away. It's real. Nothing fake about it. The real deal at WeGrowHairIndy.com. Again, 888-724-5129 or WeGrowHairIndy.com today.
Fall in Indy, and if you hate painting year after year, do what your neighbor Edwina did. She called Rhino Shield.
So over the years, I've had to touch up the house. I just got to the point where I couldn't spend any more money on the outside of the house. And when I saw Rhino Shield, I thought that was the answer to my problem.
And Rhino Shield's not paint. It's better.
I'd had painters here before, and it was usually quite a disaster with them leaving their equipment here and picking up things in the yard. But Rhino Shield was right on it.
Get the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
The gentleman said, if you're interested, give me a call. And I said, honestly, can you come tomorrow?
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Don't paint. Don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hey, everybody, we've all heard stories from friends and family about something really bad that happened. You're in an accident, there's a painful, life-altering injury, huge medical bills, even wrongful death, all from someone else's fault. Some of you are dealing with it right now. That's where the attorneys at Parr Ritchie Law Firm can help. Tony Patterson, Paul Cruz, and John McLaughlin lead a team with over 70 years of collective courtroom experience and millions of dollars in jury awards and settlements for their clients. None of us can change the past. Just know that Tony, Paul, and John are on your side to help you and your family going forward. They're recognized by Super Lawyers and U.S. News and World Report as being among the leading injury lawyers in Indiana. Even if you're unsure you have a case, give Parr Ritchie a call. They'll listen and give you their free experience legal opinion. Call 317-269-2509 or visit ParRinjury.com. That's PARRinjury.com.
The bidding wars are ending, and it's officially a buyer's market. So what are you waiting for? Ready to get pre-approved? Visit thehomeloanexpert.com.
Have fire, water, or mold damage? Call Hayes & Sons, your local restoration specialist with over 40 years of experience. At Hayes & Sons, they do restoration right. HayesandSons.com.
Mississippi State travels to LSU for an SEC showdown. Saturday at 5:30 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
If peeing your pants is cool, consider me Miles Davis.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Taylor the back, Ryan under center. They give off to Taylor. Taylor hit, but he bounces into the end zone. Touchdown! I-N-D-Y! Jonathan Taylor makes it 20-12.
Jonathan Taylor on the afternoon. 31 for 161. I'm not going to worry about the overusage right now because it was necessary to try to save that game yesterday. And I know that a lot of people want to, and rightly so, it was a mistake, point out him going out of bounds and not going up the middle to get that first down. And that was a mistake, but he was a flat stud, as you have come to expect yesterday. And so was Michael Pittman Jr. 9 catches, 121 yards in that game yesterday as well. So those guys, to me, yeah, those are the ones, if you want to talk about the positive, those are the guys in which you talk about the positive. So Pittman Jr. goes 9 for 121. Nyheim Hines, 6 for 50. Doolin, 3 for 46. Campbell, 3 for 37. If he's healthy, I think you probably should look at him more than 4 times. Maybe he wasn't open. Maybe he couldn't get open. But we always talk about all that speed that he possesses. 4 targets. would seem to be rather low there. Least to me when thinking about it. Matt Ryan, by the way, 32 of 50. For 352 yards, he had a TD, obviously a couple dropped, and also that interception by Jerry Hughes, who just absolutely, he is still working right now, by the way. Jerry Hughes still working over Braden Smith. Zach Kiefer hit this on Twitter a couple of minutes ago. Ask head coach Frank Reich about the team's plans for kicker after Blankenship's rough day yesterday. No clear answer on whether the team will work out other kickers this week. More roster evaluation coming tonight in meeting with general manager Chris Ballard. So basically that is deferring to later on tonight. At JMV 1070 on Twitter, I really hope somebody got Blankenship some string cheese and a juice box. You can't have that. I mean, you can't have 3 negative plays in one, the play that cost you the game, at those moments in the second half like that. You just can't have it. I mean, if Badgley's out there, go find Badgley. I'm not sure where Badgley is. Is he available? Who cares? I mean, you could lean on him, or at least you could, but you have to keep searching because clearly after yesterday, there is no way, shape, or form this guy is your guy. Anybody going to count on that right now? And again, that's a subject that we have discussed over and over again for a while. And we've all been told that everything's okay. Everything. Hey, we're live at Buffalo Wild Wings downtown. Bud Light brings us to you on a Blue Monday. We've got your chance at Chiefs-Colts tickets. You got to get here and sign up. I would love to see you here downtown on Washington Street here at Buffalo Wild Wings. Great food, ice-cold Bud Light. We got a robot for you, and we've got lots of Colts conversation. All right, they tied. 20-20 was the final score. Yes, it could have been worse, but you had 3 quarters of what I thought was horrible football. We'll revisit. We'll talk about some sure things I'm sure looking at, positively speaking, whether it's Pittman Jr. or talking about what Jonathan Taylor did yesterday. Hey, defensively, Gilmore, all right, I can take that. Defensively, Grover Stewart, you can take that. Everything else basically is negative and open for debate. 239-1070. Full phones. We'll start with you guys coming up next.
After a long off-season to lick their wounds, the Colts travel back to Jacksonville to visit an old conference friend.
Do you know the proverb that tells us revenge is a dish that is best served cold?
The Colts take on the Jacksonville Jaguars to avenge last year's season-ending loss. Sunday morning starting at 10.
He's in! Jonathan Taylor, touchdown!
On your home for Colts football. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Hey, it's PAI, WeGrowHairAndy.com, your real growing hair again. Just a phone call away at 888-724-5129. Real growing hair again at one place. It is with PAI. Tell Darren Andrews that I sent you and go to work on getting that full head of hair like you had when you were a lot younger. 888-724-5129 or WeGrowHairAndy.com today.
Your one blood donation can help save the lives of up to 3 people. Give blood through the American Red Cross to help hospital patients. Visit redcrossblood.org today.
If you're serious about selling your home, call Mark Dietel and his team today at 317-755-4232 or online markdietel.com. That's Mark, Dietel.com today.
Hey, football fans, this is Scott McCauley, the voice of the Marion University Knights football program. Tickets are on sale for this Saturday's home game as the Knights take on St. Francis, Illinois. Kickoff between the Knights and the Fighting Saints is at 6:05 p.m. Buy your tickets now for this Saturday and for all remaining home games today. Pricing starts at $10 and group rates apply. To buy your tickets, head to MUKnights.com and click the tickets link.
Hey, it's JMV for CarX Tire and Auto, serving the Indianapolis market for over 40 years. 14 Central Indiana, Joe Childers run locations of CarX. I'm talking absolutely everything for your car, truck, or van. Full service auto repair specialist. We're talking brakes, tires, engine alignments, exhaust, oil changes, all that and more. And how about this for a JMV special? $109.99 lifetime brake pads per axle and save $200 on a set of 4 select Continental tires.
Those are the JMV specials. 14 Central Indiana CarX locations to serve you. Car, truck, or van, they have exactly what you're looking for. Full service auto repair all in one place. Tell Joe Childers I sent you. 14 Central Indiana CarX locations. There is one near you. Find out where it is online today. It's CarX.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts is here to keep your car on the road with our free loaner tool program. Your local store has more than 80 specialty tools available to rent for your next repair. Refundable deposit required. Ask our professional parts people about the loaner tool program today at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store or visit
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
We got to make sure that your system's ready for the late days of summer and the early stages of not just fall, but the wintertime. It's been a rough summer for your cooling unit, right? Call John and Chris Love at Love Heating and Air and make sure that, well, your system's running smoothly and efficiently, making sure it's not costing you money, right? To stay cool and comfortable on the inside, or not even be cool and comfortable if your system's not working the way that it should. John and Chris Love to the rescue today. Get that checkup. Log on. That's love-hvac.com right now.
You've undoubtedly heard of the calm before the storm. Well, Michaelis is the calm after the storm. More than 3 decades of restoring damage from wind, rain, and hail. They've got your back, not to mention your front, side, and roof. It's why home and business owners beat a path to Michaelis' door, because it's always answered around the clock with welcome arms. Your port in the storm. From site security and tarping services to complete restoration work, they can handle anything Mother Nature throws your way. Seasoned and trustworthy pros who are never deterred by a little wind and rain, or a motherload of it for that matter. Water, storms, fire, and foundations. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
It's the biggest open-wheel racing weekend of the year, featuring the Outlaws, All-Stars, and USAC. The Four Crown Nationals, September 23rd and 24th. Buy your tickets now at EldorasSpeedway.com.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis. Dodgers, Giants, Sunday Night Baseball. The action begins at 7 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
I am in the parking lot right now, hammering a bacon, egg, and cheese, hold the cheese, in preparation to go deep with 4 hits and put on a laser show to the likes of which you have never witnessed in your entire life.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
Ball in the near hash. Ryan out of the gun. 1st and 10 to the 15. Ryan, RPO, throws upfield for Michael Pittman Jr. Circles out of a tackle. Dives across the goal line. Touchdown! Touchdown! Michael Pittman Jr. And the Colts are an extra point away from tying the game with a minute 54 to go.
Matt Taylor, the call on the Colts Radio Network. 11's a stud. 9 catches, 121. And that touchdown right there. A stud. Listen, he is a fighter. And for those of you that suggest this team is not tough enough, he has no problem taking up a lot of slack and toughness. Thanks for coming out, man. He is a tough dude. 2 guys yesterday, both he and Jonathan Taylor, you can really talk about as... and really positively more than negatively. Actually, not even negatively. To me, even with Jonathan Taylor and that misread there late in the game, which you wish you would have done it better still, and nobody's going to complain, should complain about 31 for 161 and a touchdown. He was fantastic, as we have been known now to expect that fantastic play. Buffalo Wild Wings were downtown with Bud Light. This is a Blue Monday. Thank you for joining us. I've got Chiefs-Colts tickets to give away. You got to get down here and get signed up. I know a lot of you are kicking off of work here after 4 o'clock now. Washington Street downtown. If you're downtown, just walk over, get yourself an ice cold Bud Light. $2.75 a pint. Get signed up for those tickets. These tickets will be hard to come by. If you saw the Chiefs act yesterday, they looked as good as usual. No Tyreek Hill, no problem. Speaking of that, Miami looked good yesterday. Minnesota looked good yesterday. The Giants looked good. The Giants, that missed field goal from Randy Bullock really saved a potential incredibly disastrous day for the Colts. It really did. That saved it. Otherwise, you're pointing the finger at, hey, it's a tie and it's better than a loss. Fine. But, man, Tennessee blowing that at home to the Giants. Don't get me wrong, this is still an incredibly winnable division. I mean, it's getting to the point now where if you don't win it, if somebody, as in the head coach, is going to have a serious problem. I've said this before, it all is kind of how it goes down, how it's viewed. But let's face it, the way this division looks right now, as wide open in mediocrity, if you want to put it that way. Come on. It's just tough. It is tough to watch 3 quarters of that crap yesterday and then celebrate, right? Celebrate a tie. I know it's been tough. You look at all the sports teams around here, you probably want to celebrate some ties because normally they're losing, and I mean all of them. All of them. All right, 239-1070. A lot of phone calls coming in today. Where am I right now on this list? Is it Adam up next at 239-1070? Kyle, Adam on the air? Adam, is this you? Kyle, who might this be that I'm talking to?
It's supposed to be Adam. Is he not there?
Hey, Adam, are you there? Or are you just kind of hanging out? All right, put him back on hold. Let's go to Ray next at 239-1070. Hello, Ray. How are you?
Hey, JMV. Surprisingly, I'm doing all right, despite yesterday. On that fourth down, I kind of blame you for that play call. I think Frank Reich was listening to you when you said you need to get 21 and 28 in the backfield more together. So I put that on your shoulders.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, there's a lot of that. And, yeah, you can blame me for the defense, too. I got all excited about this defense. I will tell you this. I had to regain consciousness after 21 fumbled that punt, and Isaiah Rodgers had to fall on that thing. So, yeah, see, and this is not good either. This is what being that bad leads to. What it leads to is guys like, speed, guys like 21 trying to do stuff that you shouldn't be doing in those situations. You know what I mean? This is what it leads to. Both mental mistakes, no doubt, on special teams.
Another thing that I did notice in the game was they were sending extra help over there to 91 side. So I think that kind of played a factor in why he didn't. But also I think it played a role into why Quiddy did get his 2 sacks in the game. I think that played a role in it too. So, I mean, we can't look at everything individually. I think we got to look at the whole picture. But I'm pretty confident in this team's ability still after seeing yesterday, because I compare it to Jacksonville and how things went last year. It looked like the team pretty much rolled over. But at least they did show some fight to try to make it not look so bad. But I still feel confident because I think a lot of the mistakes that were being made and a lot of the, as you say, the buffoonery that was happening was self-inflicted. So I think those are things that can work themselves out. But still, you still got to be better. You still got to put your foot on the throat. It just didn't happen. But that's why it's 17 of them, and you get to go back at it next week down in Jacksonville and fight those demons.
Yeah, man, that's another premium too, Timmy. Thank you very much for the call. Listen, you have to make up. You have to be better because you got 3 quarters of unacceptable, mistake-ridden football from a team that I don't care if it is week 1. Considering how things went down at the end of last year, you got to know and you got to play better. You just do. Would I feel better? Maybe. Would I feel better if it were against a team that was just better? Houston wasn't. The Colts handed that away. The Colts in 3 quarters handed that game. And then, hey, listen, you come back in the 4th, and Houston went into a shell of their own, too. But that was just a giveaway. You gave away a win and turned it into a tie, and a tie is better than a loss, but it still sucks compared to a win. In that division, I'm going to tell you, if I have to look back on this crap in December and go into some analysis as to why this didn't work out, a not so subtle reminder right here. Looks how that division is going to play out is exactly what we saw yesterday. Think about that. Jacksonville on the road at Washington, Tennessee at home against the Giants, and then 2 division teams against one another tie. I'm sorry. To me, that even magnifies this division more of no excuses. Nobody wants to hear the excuses. Nobody. So I mentioned a little bit earlier, too, meeting with the media, a lot of questions to Frank Reich regarding the future of Blankenship as the kicker. And Frank Reich has deferred answering those questions until he and Chris Ballard meet later on this evening. So we'll see. A lot of people out there covering the Colts seem to think that Frank is less than enthusiastic in backing up Blankenship. We'll see. To me, listen, it's a hardcore business. You cannot go out there with a guy that you don't have any trust in. Who has trust in this guy right now? Are there guys not walking around? Maybe not. That you can trust a little bit more, but you owe it to everybody on that team, in that organization, and all you fans that pay money or use that disposable time to watch, you got to be looking. You got to be looking for something. Because that does not seem at all to be it. A lot of things cost them that game yesterday. That was chief among them. Dave's up next at 239-1070. Hello, Dave.
Yeah, I got 2 comments.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, Blankenship on his, I don't know if anybody's mentioned it or not, but he had 2 kickoffs that went out of bounds and he hooked to the left.
Yeah, we talked about that. I almost, and that's why I felt bad about this kick. Because, listen, I don't know where his mind would have been. I'm not going to pretend to know. But my confidence in him after those 2 gaffes on special teams on kickoffs, it wasn't high to begin with, but it certainly wasn't high after that. No question.
I just wonder if that was in his head and he was trying to make up for it. That's why he sliced it right. I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, he'd have to answer that. Again, I don't pretend to know what's going on in his head, but it wasn't like he was, because I guess he did hit, an extra point in between those 2 gaffes on kickoff, but he hit that potential game winner like there wasn't a lot of confidence in it because he missed it by a wide margin. It was bad.
Oh, exactly. My other comment was that it seems to me like every offensive player on 4th and short on the field wants to go for it. But most teams have a head coach that's going to use his head and say, no, we're on the road, let's take the points. I think on that drive that he should have taken the field goal instead of going for it.
Yeah, I don't mind that he went for it on 4th and 2, but I extremely mind what they sent out there to do offensively on that play. That was laughable. I don't mind going for it. I'm okay with that. But I wasn't okay with the play call was stupid. It just was. Yeah. I mean, I mean, I know, maybe we say that. I doubt it, though. If you're going to go with Jonathan Taylor and you get stuffed at the line of scrimmage or behind the ball like they did with Hines in the Wildcat yesterday, then so be it. That's a tough one right there to live with.
Yeah, when they lined up in that, I thought, what are they doing? I think everybody did. That was crazy. Okay, thank you.
It was. Hey, thank you for the call. Appreciate that. At JMV 1070 shows on Twitter if you're in there. Inside the lounge via YouTube Live. Downtown Buffalo Wild Wings. It's a Bud Light Blue Monday where you can sign up for Chiefs Colts tickets while you're here. So get down here, have an ice cold Bud Light. Maybe you can win some Chiefs Colts tickets. Brian Kelly writes this. Hey, JMV, maybe Ballard can sign that Chiefs safety for kickoffs. He had no issues whatsoever. The safety comes in for Butker and booms one out of the end zone. It's from Robbie. A tie hurts the soul. All this work, all those mess-ups just to take a miracle to tie the worst team in the league. Well, you can look at it that way, or you can look at it the other way. At least as it comes in the books, it's not a loss, but I agree with you. That's just kind of where the mentality is around here right now. Just so used to losing, so used to being disappointed around here. Hey, JMV, so I just got out of the car. Let's turn on my radio here. I'm sure you've talked about the kicker, but did it come up about his 2 kickoff penalties? Yeah, we talked about that a great deal. There's no way in the world you're not actively searching to try to replace him right now. You have to. Again, as I mentioned earlier, you owe it to everybody. If not, certainly the fans, those people in that building, in that locker room. You got to be looking. And if you truly do, after every game, every performance, evaluate everything, that can't fly. That cannot happen. No question about it. Ike is up next at 239-1070. Ike, welcome to the show.
Good afternoon.
Ike.
Yeah, I just got 2 things. The first one is Blankenship would be gone if I was running the show. I'd get anybody but him. And the second thing is I think Frank needs to stop gambling and go ahead and take the 3 points, because 3 points is better than nothing. And that's what we always wind up with when we go for it. So if we'd have took the 3, guess what? It wouldn't even have been overtime. We went in regulation. So it cost us the playoffs last year when he went for 2. In Baltimore, instead of taking an extra point, we ended up going into overtime and losing. And plus, we did it at the first game of the season against the Rams. We went for it and didn't get it, and we lost by 3. So, I mean, ever since he's been here, he's cost us playoffs by not just taking the 3 points and getting some points and coming back next time and you go for the touchdown. So that's my problem. He needs to quit gambling, take the 3, and we win most of the games we end up losing if he just do that one thing. So that's my problem. And if you don't clean it up, he's going to be gone.
I agree about the gone thing. There's no question about that. Thank you for the call. However, I didn't mind going forward on 4th down. I didn't mind. People are going to say, well, wait a minute. You're all Mr. Negative here. No, I didn't mind that. And I'm not going to turn it around and say I did just because it didn't work. I didn't mind it at the time. The play call that you minded, I want to look back. I'd have to, I guess, check the records on how many times over the course of the Frank Reich tenure we find ourselves going back and not minding the gambling of the head coach offensively and going for it, that mentality, but then questioning what in the world you're doing on the play call. You know? Hey, if Jonathan Taylor gets snuffed out there at the line of scrimmage, we're blaming the offensive line. Not blaming the play call. But now we're blaming the play call because that just looks so ridiculous. And then you got, I don't even think it's an argument anymore, the best running back, the highest paid offensive line. Kyle, where are they? The offensive line is number 1, highest paid in the NFL. Defensive line, number 3. Is that true?
Yep, number 1 for the offensive line, $42.2 million. Number 2 is Arizona at $40 million. And D-line, number 3 with $50.9. Number 1 is Kansas City with $55.8.
You wonder why I bring this up all the time and hold both sides of that football to a much higher standard. That's part of the reason why. Maybe the most significant reason why. The other part of it is Chris Ballard, because that's supposed to be Chris Ballard's bread and butter. That's his baby. That's what he has built. That's what he believes in. That's the type of football he believes in. And it looks like a 90s era, late 80s, 90s era football to us, but that is what he believes in. I didn't think the offensive line nor the defensive line played up to the standards in which we would expect at all. I hope this is not becoming trendy with Braden Smith, by the way. Jerry Hughes, what is he, 34 years old? 33 years old? 34? Man, you talk about Braden Smith getting worked over yesterday. Worked over with big plays. That blow-by sack That one-handed interception, which was a great play. And that was a struggle. Yeah, the offensive line, if you're going to be the highest paid in the NFL, your standards are just going to be higher. If your defensive line is going to be top 3, and in this case, Kansas City, who looks really strong still, is number 1, the expectations, the bar is just going to be set higher. That's the way that it is. To me, I would wonder why you didn't expect the same thing. Terry's up next to 239-1070. Terry, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, pretty good, JMV. How are you?
Fantastic. Go ahead, man.
So the question I have is, as I was watching the game yesterday, in the fourth quarter, we were running. We had a 2-minute drill. We were running the ball down, and my biggest complaint is, yes, we went down and scored, but Frank Reich wasn't calling in the plays quick enough. We were huddling, taking more time than anything when we could have marched down there a lot faster. Yes, we would have left some time on the clock, but our defense was doing good, and it was a 2-minute drill. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I saw this, and I didn't see anybody reputable that I saw this from, but I saw rumors, I guess online, if you want to call them that Ryan was upset because the plays were coming in slow. I haven't read here, at least locally. I don't know if anybody asked him that today or asked Ryan that after the game. But I did read a couple of different things online where maybe Ryan wasn't altogether satisfied and or happy with the timing of the plays coming in from Frank. So I don't know whether that there's truth to it, but it could be. It's just a question that probably needs to be asked at some point.
I love your show.
Hey, you call anytime. I appreciate you very much, Terry. 239-1070 is that number. I asked this question, the Connecticut Water question of the day, last hour. So are the Colts, you think, more representative after this Week 1 game and that tie in Houston as the first 3 quarters we saw or the fourth quarter that we saw? What is more repping of this Colts team right now? What more do you plan on seeing coming up on Sunday? Where's your head at as far as this team's concerned? I think that is a pretty good question to ask. Kyle, did you read anywhere else where Ryan wasn't happy with the timing, the fluid nature in which the plays were being relayed to him?
No, I haven't seen that anywhere else.
Did I dream that last night? I thought I read that. Maybe I just dreamt that last night. I don't know. Maybe it's just an evaluation I saw from some reactions on the field. But interesting nonetheless. Yeah, Frank just had a bad day. Frank had a really bad day, and Frank this season can't take a lot of bad days. Cannot have a lot of bad days. I will tell you this on the other side. What this tie did for me yesterday, to me, expectation-wise, if the Colts don't win this division, I said earlier, right? I said earlier, off-season, said it's going to all come down. I think I told Tony Cash this earlier today, too. What it's going to come down to is, the visual, how they get to where they are. In this case, how they get to disappointment, if that were to happen. But the more and more you look early on in this division, the more and more you should expect the Colts to win because of what is all around them. And it kind of seems like to me, again, yesterday, if they do in themselves, like they did for 3 quarters, that's the optics that would get a coaching change here. Those are those types of optics. Yesterday was that, an entire offseason to prepare to be much better than what we saw them back in January in Jacksonville, an entire training camp and preparation to start the season better. And that's what you got in the first 3 quarters. You could call it wide open. I would give the Colts the expectations. Even with the way that they looked in large part for that game and then coming away with the tie. You got to be kidding me if you can't win this division. Because again, and I know it sounds like I'm not giving credit where credit is due for Houston, but that wasn't about Houston. That was about this team here screwing things up. That was about the team and the coach here screwing things up. Plays missed assignments missed, mistakes made, drop passes, drop touchdown catches, potential touchdown catches, missed field goals, special teams gaffes, bad decisions on special teams. This was more about the Colts than it ever was about Houston yesterday. That should be what Colts fans most should be concerned with. When somebody a little bit earlier said, hey, this is stuff I think you can clean up. It's stuff that you better clean up because, again, it was all self-induced. You give me something where Houston just looked like O.J. Howard, for example. O.J. Howard, he wide open. That's the same play twice. Wide open. You come out of the second half, Pep Hamilton goes with the flea flicker. And did anybody catch that? That thing like a glacier evolved slowly. Thing took forever. Julian Blackmon must have came all the way up to the line of scrimmage or something because, man, he bit like nobody's business. But seriously, this division, no expectation, or I should say no excuses, and the expectations should remain there. Because what you saw yesterday, if you want to call it inexcusable, certainly inexplicable. And the way that the Colts consistently in those first three quarters did it themselves and then tried to save themselves in the fourth. Shouldn't happen that way. Can't happen that way. Quick break and we shall return. More of your calls. Buffalo Wild Wings, we're downtown. We have people signing up for these Chiefs-Colts tickets right now. While you're here, get an ice cold Bud Light, get some great food. You got Monday Night Football coming up later on tonight. Russell Wilson is back in Seattle. By the way, here's how things went. My locks and shots, not so good. I don't know how anybody did as far as your game picks. Not so good, but the fantasy football team for both Kyle and I, on point. A couple of Monday reminders on that, and back to your calls at 239-1070. Colts reaction on a Monday, live from Buffalo Wild Wings with Bud Light on a Blue Monday. Next.
This is the Colts Review on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Here's the voice of the Colts, Matt Taylor.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome into the Colts Review, brought to you by Arby's. On game days, Colts fans can get 4 classic roast beefs for just $10 at participating Indianapolis Arby's locations. That's 4 famously tender Arby's roast beef sandwiches for only $10, valid on classic size only. Well, the Colts didn't lose, but they didn't win either. They tied the Houston Texans on Sunday 20-20 in overtime. It's the first tie for the Colts as a franchise since moving to Indianapolis in 1984. The Colts played an uneven first 3 quarters and trailed going into the fourth quarter 20-3, but the Colts put it together in all 3 phases and outscored the Texans 17-0 in the final frame to send the game into overtime. The Colts got a 3-and-out on defense on the first drive of OT, and then were in a position to win. The Colts chewed up clock with a long drive, but missed a 42-yard field goal that would have won the game in the extra frame. In the game, the Colts definitely had their chances. They were turned away on 4th and goal at the 2-yard line in the second quarter. They suffered an interception in Texans territory and also lost another fumble near midfield. The Colts were just 2 of 5 inside the red zone, and Matt Ryan talked about the self-inflicted wounds for the Colts being the difference in the game.
We just didn't have like the self-inflicted wounds, we were moving the ball pretty good, most of the game, and just had a few things that kind of derailed us, which is strange, but they happen sometimes, in openers. I thought we had a great week of practice. I thought our prep was really good. And so I think if we stay the course, we continue to have the mindset that we've had, we continue to play with the effort that we played with, we're going to tighten these things up, and I think we're going to be better for it.
That's Matt Ryan, and the Colts are looking for a big jump in execution from Game 1 to Game 2. Despite the tie, the Colts did a lot of things well. They tallied 517 total yards, which is the second most in the Frank Reich era. The Colts had a 300-yard passer in Matt Ryan, a 100-yard rusher in Jonathan Taylor, and a 100-yard receiver in Michael Pittman Jr. It marks the first time the team had accomplished that feat since Peyton Manning, Joseph Adai, and Pierre Garçon all did it back in Week 6, 2010 at Washington. They'll return to action next week against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and it's another road game inside the division. And unfortunately, the Colts have not won an opening day since 2013, and they're looking for their first win in Jacksonville since 2014 this upcoming Sunday. And that's it for the Colts Review today, brought to you by Arby's on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Football fans can turn a loss into a win with the king of sportsbooks. Just place a single first touchdown score prop bet on any pro football game. If your bet loses, you'll receive up to $25 back in free bets. This offer is available all season long. Wager confidently and take your game to the next level with BetMGM. Just log into your account or download the BetMGM app and sign up today. Then, wager on any player to score the first touchdown in any pro football game, and if your bet misses, you'll get up to $25 back in free bets. Turn game time into showtime with the king of sportsbooks. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Indiana only. New and existing customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire 7 days from issuance. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hey, it's John here for PAI, WeGrowHairAndy.com. Your real growing hair again. It's not just a pipe dream. No, this is serious business. You can get it right now with just a call. Let Darren Andrews explain everything to you. 888-724-5129. Your real growing hair again with PAI. 888-724-5129. WeGrowHairAndy.com today.
My name is Kayla Sinders, and I work for Gleaners Food Bank. I am a local service manager for 3 counties in our 21-county service area, and I nominated Katie.
And I'm Jiffy Lube owner Steve Sanner. At Jiffy Lube, we are proud to support Hoosier charities that use their vehicles to do more to make Indiana a better place to live.
My name is Katie Wilkerson. I pick up at the mobile food pantries. The best part of volunteering to hand someone some food and see the smile on their face, the relief. Without my vehicle, there's no way I'd be able to do this. To go to any of the pantries, it's at least 18 miles.
Jiffy Lube of Indiana provides all of our Do More winners with free vehicle maintenance for a year. Because now at Jiffy Lube, our trained technicians do more to keep vehicles like theirs and yours on the road. Brakes, tires, batteries, and more. As well as Indiana's favorite oil change since 1985.
If you know a volunteer who impacts your community, nominate them today to receive a year's worth of free vehicle maintenance. Just click the Do More tab at JiffyLubeIndiana.com.
Hey, it's John here for the best of the absolute business here. If you're thinking about putting your home on the market or just looking around for something bigger and better, call upon my good friend Mark Dietel. Mark Dietel Realty today. 317-755-4232. Online, markdietel.com. That's Mark, DIETEL.com today. I don't care what you're doing. You want to make sure in these situations you go with the best. And the best opportunity for the best deal for you is Mark Dietel. In fact, he'll guarantee multiple offers in 3 days for full market value, or he will list it for free. Go with the best. Go with the guarantees. That's Mark Dietel. Mark Dietel Realty today. 317-755-4232. Online, markdietel.com. That's Mark, DIETEL.com today.
When buying a home, the first call you should make is to 317-550-1515, or you can go to thehomeloanexpert.com. That'll put you in touch with Ryan Kelly, the home loan expert. And I use Ryan. My retired friends use Ryan. First-time home buyers use Ryan. Military personnel will use Ryan. I guess what I'm trying to get to here, Ryan, is you've got a number of programs that can help anybody looking to buy a home or looking to tap into the equity they already have in their existing home.
Absolutely. And, we have this saying around the office. We really do have a loan program for almost anyone, like our teacher appreciation loan. If you work in education, at closing, we'll give you a $500 Target gift card. That's how we say thank you. And we have loans for our first responders, our frontline workers. And then, of course, we have jumbo, FHA, VA, the list goes on. So if you're thinking about a refinance, if you're thinking about a home purchase, all you need to think is thehomeloanexpert.com. We can answer all of your questions and get you pre-approved the day you call in. Thinking about a cash out refinance or a new home purchase? Let's talk. Thehomeloanexpert.com.
A new Dick's Sporting Goods warehouse sales store is now open in Meridian Meadow Shopping Center. Get ready to save up to 70% off thousands of items from your favorite athletic brands. Check out can't miss deals for the entire family, including tees, tanks, hoodies, sweatshirts, leggings, joggers, footwear, and more. Plus, new styles arrive weekly, so there's always more from the best brands. Check out your new Dick's Sporting Goods warehouse sales store for the grand opening celebration this weekend in Meridian Meadow Shopping Center.
It's the biggest open wheel racing weekend of the year, featuring the Outlaws, All-Stars, and USAC. The Four Crown Nationals, September 23rd and 24th. Buy your tickets now at EldorasSpeedway.com.
After a long off-season to lick their wounds, the Colts travel back to Jacksonville to visit an old conference friend.
Do you know the proverb that tells us revenge is a dish that is best served cold?
The Colts take on the Jacksonville Jaguars to avenge last year's season-ending loss. Sunday morning starting at 10.
He's in! Jonathan Taylor, touchdown!
On your home for Colts football. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this. And totally redeem yourself.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Under center, Davis Mills with an I formation behind him. Rex Burkhead is the tailback. They play action to him. Mills. He is sacked from behind. The ball is out at the 20-yard line.
EJ Speed right there with a big play. Now, also didn't have a not-so-good play on special teams. But a play right there, Matt Taylor, the Colts Radio Network with the call. The Colts and the Texans end yesterday in a 20-20 tie. Buffalo Wild Wings downtown, our first of the season. Bud Light Blue Friday. Great food. Getting you set for the Monday night Broncos and Seahawks encounter. But also, this is your motivation to get downtown here on Washington Street, because you have an opportunity to get signed up to win Chiefs-Colts tickets. Their home openers week 3. Chiefs-Colts tickets up for grabs. All you got to do is get yourself signed up right here. I believe the Bud Light Seltzer is out here as well, which is awesome too. Get down here, downtown off of Washington Street, Bud Light, Blue Monday with Chiefs-Colts tickets to give away. You got to get here, and you got to get signed up. All right, some of the other scores before I get back to the phones at 239-1070 next. Yesterday, come from behind. Jameis Winston, 269, 2 TDs. Saints, 27-26 over the Falcons. In a monsoon and a swamp at Soldier Field in Chicago yesterday, the Bears, Matt Eberflus, his first head coaching victory in Chicago yesterday. 19-10 over the 49ers in that game for the Bears. And what was incredible in Cincinnati yesterday, too, Bengals lose in overtime to the Steelers. Boswell with that game winner, 23-20 Steelers over Cincinnati again in overtime. Nick Sirianni on the road, beating the Lions 38-35. Eagles over Detroit in that game, too. Dolphins big out of the gate. Dolphins 27 over the Patriots. Tua had a 271 touchdown performance under center for the Dolphins down in Miami. And the Ravens 24-9 over the New York Jets yesterday as well. Carson Wentz 313, 4 touchdowns. That's 27-41. Sprinkle in a couple of interceptions as well. The Commanders 28-22 over the Jaguars yesterday afternoon in that week number 1 contest. Baker Mayfield, not enough for the Panthers. They lose 26-24 to his former team, the Browns, yesterday. 21-20, the Giants over the Titans. Randy Bullock missed a potential game-winning field goal yesterday down in Nashville. So, again, an 0-1 and 0-1 with the Titans and with the Jaguars within the AFC South, and then you've got a couple of tied teams right there, being the Colts and the Texans. All right, 239-1070. Reactions, responses from yesterday as well. We'll get back to those phones right now. Who is this up next? Where am I right now on this, Kyle?
We'll bring on Timmy here.
Timmy, thank you for the call. Go ahead, sir.
How you doing, JMV?
Timmy, fantastic. What's up?
Very a lot to cover since you guys covered a lot of things, but I'm going to kick right while you're still down. You remember the movie Waterboy?
I do.
He coaches like that coach. He coaches scared. I think the reason he goes for it so much is he tried to prove to himself that he could actually coach. Like, he's not a very fluid coach. And I called in a while back ago, and I said, when we play the Bills in the preseason, I said, get used to it because that's what our offense is going to look like. And you're like, well, I'm not sure. I'm not going to invest too much in the preseason. I'm telling you, Reich is not a great coach, and EJ Speed probably saved this season or another week. And I said, put Ellinger in the Wildcat if you're going to do the Wildcat. I just don't. I don't like Reich, and as much as we bash the Pagano-Grigson area, we've never seen meltdowns like this. I can't remember even going through this. Yeah, we lost to New England in the Deflategate, but it's New England. We were used to it. Peyton lost up there, but I can't remember just being, so invested, going out and buying the jerseys, the hats, and we basically dressed up in clown suits. Thank you, JMV. Appreciate your show.
Timmy, thank you very much. Well, I do remember a great deal of losing and bad losses going on there too, but they also, that particular era, had an AFC title game under their belt. But this one, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, as far as Frank Reich is concerned, it's going to be how it looks to see where he gets. So I'll give you a great example. If he disappoints this year, if they disappoint this year, it's going to be how it looks. And I still think yesterday was a hell of a step in the wrong direction for Frank. And we can talk about the fourth down call, the Wildcat formation, which was bad. But no, I'm talking about how they looked for 3 quarters to start, after how they looked for 4 quarters back in January, how long they had in preparation for that game, knowing just how premium, how important that it is, changing around the training camp schedule, modifying that to try to be better, and then to come out with all those expectations on the line in that first game, and for 3 quarters to look like that. Unacceptable. That's the type of stuff that'll get him gone if they don't live up to the expectations this year. I mentioned, I think they call them optics, right? I said visuals a little bit earlier. Those are the types of optics to go along with a disappointing season to where they will be looking at a new coach. I'm not suggesting they are right now because they're not. I'm not even going to say he's on the hot seat. But that's how he ends up getting gone. Situations as we saw yesterday. Prolonged futility to start that game when everybody in the world was expecting more. Everybody talked about how you could expect more. And for 3 quarters, you didn't get it. So, again, those are the visuals that would lead to that. Just none of that's happening right now. The focus right now is going to be on the kicker. How did everybody think Matt Ryan did yesterday? You think about Matt Ryan's performance yesterday. Dive into that coming up next. Matthew is up next at 239-1070. Hello, Matthew. How are you?
Hey, JMV. I'm going to focus on the positives, like you were saying, or in contrary to what we've been hearing. But, I think last week, week 1 for the NFL, was a great sign of when it rains, it pours. If you, look at the Bengals, Joe Burrow had, those 4 interceptions or whatever in the first quarter. And Matt Ryan had all those terrible snaps, whether that's, Ryan Kelly's fault or his fault, whatever it was. But I think that it's just or week 1 was just, when it rains, it pours. But a positive to pull out of Matt Ryan is that in that fourth quarter, I don't know if you saw, but he was telling all the offensive linemen, we got 2 possessions and we can tie this up. He was staying positive. In that fourth quarter, he led us back, and I literally can't think of a previous Colts quarterback other than Peyton that could do that in the fourth quarter. But it's also a great example on a double-edged sword of, hey, when hot rods can't land a ball within the field of play twice, I was going to be honest, I had no faith in him kicking that field goal to win the game. But I think it's just because he just needs more experience and he just needs more time, or he just needs to build up that confidence. But I think when it rains, it pours, and we saw 2 great examples of it. And we saw one where we could bounce back easily, and it was hot rod didn't bounce back as easily kind of thing.
Hey, thank you for the call. I appreciate that very much. Call again soon. Here's the thing. They don't have time to wait on this now. They don't have time. Somebody mentioned to me this a little bit earlier today, regarding the preseason, and then, the first 2 weeks of the season is to tweak what you have. They don't have time to be tweaking. No time to tweak, especially not with that. You can't mess around with that. I don't know who else is out. I mean, we mentioned Badgley, right? I would take him right now, confidence-wise, compared to where you see Blankenship. That was a meltdown kick. Those two he kicked out of bounds combined with that potential game winner that he missed so badly, that's lack, loss, meltdown type of kick stuff. Man, I wish that they had enough time to go ahead and soak it in. I mean, you've been waiting on that and been waiting on the development of, number 2 pass catchers. You've been waiting on that forever. These guys don't have enough time to do that now. You can't be tweaking about things in the first 2 weeks of the season when you're on the road against division counterparts. You just can't. Not enough time for that. I'm not suggesting they don't have what it takes to be good. But they showed it for one quarter yesterday. And against a bad team, I don't want to hear what Houston did. And Houston, it was not Houston winning that. It was the Colts giving that away. They gave it away. They gave it away out of 3 quarters of play and gave it away at the end of the game when their kicker couldn't knock that thing home. Gave it away. And then everything else in between. 4th down calls, drop touchdown passes. Do you view Matt Ryan? Matt Ryan yesterday went 32 of 50, 352, an interception and a touchdown. Do you view that a good game for him? Here's why I ask. Because you could also look on the other side and go, what, he fumbled the football, 3 times, 4 times? And that interception by Jerry Hughes that I mentioned? Do you view that as a solid performance from Matt Ryan or a disappointing performance from Matt Ryan? Kyle, what say you?
I thought it was pretty shaky at the beginning, but that 4th quarter, I think, was pretty encouraging that he was able to kind of move the ball almost at will and lead to 2 scoring drives. It should have been 3 if Hot Rod would have made that field goal. Was that shakiness due to early in the game, the lack of protection he was being provided? Was that a lot to it? I think a lot of it is Jonathan Taylor, it seemed like maybe had a little bit of rust on him because he didn't play in the preseason. He didn't look like his normal self, and he kind of settled in. He looked like Jonathan Taylor. The O-line, I thought, did okay. But at the beginning, maybe Matt Ryan kind of forced it a little bit, and the only guy that was getting open was Pittman. Telling you, the frightening part about that is the only guy that I think any of us envisioned being able to get open. That's the frightening part. People say, well, what about Alec Pierce? I told you that Alec Pierce was going to take a while. Alec Pierce really wasn't the Alec Pierce that you know until a year ago. I mean, he's had a thin line of experience and success so far. That's a big position to be thrust into. So you couldn't count on that immediately. And you kind of have to. Like yesterday, with all the attention on 11, he had a huge day with all that in mind. Jarvis, before the breaks at 239-1070. Hello, Jarvis.
How you doing? You guys doing today?
Jarvis, I'm fantastic. Thank you for the call. What's up, buddy?
Okay, real quick. This is a real elephant in the room that no one is talking about. The Colts have had 3 quarterbacks in 3 years. So Michael Pittman did excellent yesterday for having a new quarterback almost every year he has been here. So the question is when will the organization find a young or rookie quarterback to settle in so we don't waste Michael Pittman or Jonathan Taylor's career? Just let me know what you think, JB. Yeah.
No, I think to me, and I targeted looking at that this year, right? I mean, that is if, and I guess everybody feels, because I know he took about, 10% of the snaps yesterday, Rainmann did. He is clearly supposed to be the future at left tackle. You got to solidify that, but I think probably next year, in this next draft. I don't know sitting here right now who it might be, but there is no doubt at some point here soon and within this year, I would think you'd have to start that clock. No doubt. Jarvis, anything else? And Jarvis is now gone. Yeah, I do. I mean, that's further down the road. And today's not the day to get into, who might be available or who could be available. But, yes, I mean, sooner rather than later, you're going to have to start that clock. I mean, nobody's replacing Matt Ryan, for example, next week or anytime soon. I'm not suggesting that at all. But, yeah, this organization for the future will have to start that clock at some point. Now, you're all saying, well, hey, what about Ehlinger? That's me suggesting that he is not the guy to start the clock with. Maybe they feel that he is. Maybe I'm completely wrong. But that's not my opinion of him. They clearly still believe, because he's on the roster, inactive but on the roster, but that's just not my particular belief. All right, quick break and we shall return. That's an argument. That's a debate for another day. Buffalo Wild Wings downtown, Bud Light, Blue Monday, your chance at Chiefs Colts tickets when we return. You got to get down here and get signed up, though. More of me and more of you regarding yesterday and that 2020 tie down in Houston. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Tune in to Kevin and Query this week for a chance to win tickets to the Indianapolis Speedrome. The tickets will be a package deal worth $40.
Jay Query here. Are you ready for Thursday Night Football? Feel the excitement of opening night with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. DraftKings is giving new customers a can't-miss offer to celebrate the start of a new season. Bet just $5 on Thursday's game and get $200 in free bets instantly. And as an added bonus for Thursday, everyone can experience the thrill of DraftKings early win promotion. It's simple. Bet on Buffalo or LA to win. If your team leads by 7 at any point during the game, you get paid even if your team loses. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code 1075FAN to get $200 in free bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on Thursday Night Football. That's code 1075FAN only at DraftKings Sportsbook app, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older, Indiana only. Bonus issued as free bets. One early win token issued at opt-in. Moneyline bets only. Deposit and wagering restrictions apply. Eligibility and terms at DraftKings.com/football. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hi, it's Bob from Royal Spa. Soaking in a hot tub full of Epsom salts is the absolute best way to minimize everyday aches and pains. And we know all about Epsom salts at Royal Spa. Royal Spa hot tubs are the only hot tubs on the market that can safely and effectively use Epsom salts. Made right here in Indiana, Royal Spa hot tubs are the highest quality hot tubs on the market. Visit any one of our 3 Indianapolis locations or visit royalspa.com.
Ah, Royal Spa. Exmark makes the mowers that care for the lawns, that set the stage for the backyard life. As the commercial mowers more landscape pros trust, Exmark mowers get you on and off the lawn without compromising cut quality, comfort, or reliability. Exmark, official mowers of the backyard life. Check out end-of-season pricing on Exmark mowers and stand-on aerator rentals right now at Midstate Truck Equipment on Allisonville Road in Fishers. Midstate Truck Equipment, 800-540-4479.
Heating and air, that's love-hvac.com. But Johnny Chris Love, check that system out before it gets too late, meaning sometime before we start winter, because you look at your system, especially the cooling unit-wise, been overworked this summer, and maybe that's just leading to overwork all the way around. You go with the best to make sure that your system's doing what it should, and that's John and Chris Love and Love Heating and Air. Get that checkup. Tell them I sent you today online, love-hvac.com.
Record-breaking country music superstar Luke Combs, live in concert. The World Tour comes to Indianapolis with special guests Riley Green, Lainey Wilson, Flatland Cavalry, and Brent Cobb. Lucas Oil Stadium, Saturday, April 1st. Get tickets this Friday at 10 a.m. at lukecombs.com. Produced by AEG Presents.
Verizon Connect has a new AI dash cam with dual cameras. It's sleek, simple, and easy to install. Oh, and did I mention it's AI smart? It'll give your team real-time alerts.
Tailgating.
And each video is automatically classified and sent to your team, giving you context to help coach your drivers. Best yet, it seamlessly works in one platform that tracks your vehicles, dispatches jobs, and much more. See how Verizon Connect can help manage your fleet at VerizonConnect.com/radio.
Hey, John here, getting a better night's sleep. Thank you to Brian Evans and Dr. Steve Green at Aurora Sleep Clinic. They mentioned to me that they could help me out, and they certainly did help me out at the Aurora Specialty Sleep Clinic. It is really quick. And it is a non-intrusive device. You wear it as a mouthpiece every night. And I struggle with snoring, and I no longer struggle with snoring. So make that call if you or somebody you know has a snoring issue. 317-482-7900. 317-482-7900. Or that's AuroraSleep.com today. If you're sick and tired of snoring and that robbing you of your bed rest, or if you know somebody that also is going through that, let's do something about it. 317-482-7900. That's AuroraSleep.com today.
Don't you love fall in Indy, but you hate the paint? Well, do what your neighbor Mark did. He called Rhino Shield.
It's a two-story home built in 1992. Around 2001, looking at needing to paint, I heard a radio ad, with a Rhino Shield, you won't have to paint again for another 25 years.
That's because Rhino Shield's not paint. It's better.
They're very professional. We had everything done. Everything that would typically be painted on a house was done, and it was very fast.
All right, Indy, get the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
It was done in 2001 and still going strong. From what I've seen on our home, they can easily offer a 25-year guarantee and not worry about it.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Don't paint. Don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hey, John from Diamonds Direct. I'm just trying to set you up just in case you're out there and you need something extra special. That gift or that engagement ring. When you're thinking about popping the question, I'm going to make it easy for you, and I'm going to make it incredibly affordable for you. My friends at Diamonds Direct have a deal going on right now. 5 years and 0 interest with nothing down for a limited time, which means you can splurge, which means you can go big with my friends at Diamonds Direct. 5 years, 0 interest, nothing down. So big gift-giving idea, maybe an anniversary, birthday, or if you're thinking about getting engaged and you want not only the greatness that's Diamonds Direct and their selection, but also if you're looking for a great price, this is it. 5 years, 0 interest, nothing down for a limited time at Diamonds Direct. Store hours, info, and more. That's DiamondsDirect.com. On approved credit, Diamonds Direct, Keystone at the Crossing.
You forget something?
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to be able to pick up Braden tonight after practice.
Oh, did something come up at work?
Nah, not even going to make it in today.
Why? What's going on?
Well, I'm coming up on some construction in about a quarter mile. I've already started ignoring the signs. In a minute, I'll force my way through traffic while texting. I'll pull the wheel a little too far and drive right through the barrels where I'm going to hit a few workers. One of them is going to get killed, so then I'm going to be arrested and charged with vehicular manslaughter.
No one plans on having an accident, but you can plan to avoid one. Read the signs. Slow down. Stay alert.
This is Joe Bulk, business manager of Labor's Local 204. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down. Save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Indiana's District Council of Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
For over 25 years, Quality Supply and Tool has worked hard to set the standard for supplying the construction industry with all their industrial and commercial needs. Quality Supply and Tool adjusts their business to the customer, not the other way around, by offering a full inventory of industrial-grade tools, building materials, and concrete and masonry supplies. And Quality Supply and Tool stands behind everything they sell with a full-service warranty center staffed by skilled technicians that can fix about anything. Trust the experts at Quality Supply and Tool, a local family-owned company that thinks outside the box. Store.
Do you need air conditioning service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust, like Family Heating and Air Conditioning? Find that American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
The Colts head to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. Coverage begins Sunday morning at 10 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
If somebody gets in your face and calls you a I want you to be nice.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Welcome back. Buffalo Wild Wings are downtown. Bud Light Blue Monday. Got your chance at Chiefs Colts tickets, but you got to sign up. Monday Night Football tonight has the Broncos and Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, his first time back in Seattle as the opposing quarterback. Broncos and Seahawks from Seattle coming up later on tonight is Monday Night Football. Great place to watch it here. Great place to enjoy food here. Ice cold Bud Light as well. $2.75 for the pints and your chance to win Chiefs Colts tickets while we're here. All right, reset. We'll come back in the 5 o'clock hour and talk about what went down yesterday. A quick look at the college football that went down over the weekend, too. IU, Notre Dame, the disappointment. Boilermakers by 56 over my Sycamores. And what was a really entertaining Saturday, even though you looked at the schedule before, it didn't look that way. But back to the Colts. More on the conversation and your calls at 239-1070. Your thoughts on how the quarterback looked? Your thoughts as well on what more this team represented yesterday, the first 3 quarters or that fourth quarter that we saw in Houston that led to that 2020 tie. 239-1070, your calls in the 5 o'clock hour. We're going to fire that up next.
Yeah, that's right. I bet you didn't expect to see me here. Well, here I am. Let me tell you about a little something called respect. You ever heard of it? You know, I think it's
You're good at using your time in the shower to replay conversations and say what you should have said. We're good at your insurance. Find an Indiana Farm Bureau insurance agent online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
I think it's time for you to get out. You should just leave.
Hey, shout for PAI, WeGrowHairIndy.com, 888-724-5129. Darren Andrews, that private consultation is going to get you started on the regrowth of your hair. Hey, it's worked for me. If it works for me, it can work for you. Spectacular. WeGrowHairIndy.com, 888-724-5129 today.
Sip and save at Circle K with our great new drink subscription. Join Sip and Save today and enjoy 1 drink a day every day for just $5.99 a month. Enjoy your favorite Circle K ice cold fountain drink, Froster, or freshly ground coffee every day. That's 30 drinks a month for only $5.99. So sip and save at Circle K. Sign up in store or at CircleK.com. Circle K. Take it easy.
All right, Connecticut water is the absolute best. I explain that all the time. A lot of you are looking for the best water possible. Hey, robot. The robot's coming over here near me right now. The robot likes me. The robot would dig on Connecticut water. We could put a sign on the robot with Connecticut water that says, hey, you get the Premier Series water softener, the K5 in-home drinking water station, and you are set up. I'm telling you, people used to say all the time, hey, you've got to drink more water. Stay better hydrated. And I always thought, whatever, until I finally went out and got the Premier Series water softener and the K5 in-home drinking water station, which makes it so much easier. The taste, the smell, the way that it feels after you shower or bathe, it is all game-changing stuff with my friends at Connecticut today. 2 locations to check it out: Northeast Side Castleton, Southside US 31 and Southport Road. The Connecticut Water app. Download that to your smartphone or device today or online, ConnecticutIndy.com.
Football is back, and so is your chance to win with BetRivers Sportsbook app. Featuring our new multi-game same-game parlay. Combine the action of multiple same-game parlays in one bet for more action and bigger payouts. Bet the spread, bet the over, bet player props, and more. Throw in daily odds boost plus award-winning customer service, and it's a touchdown. Download it today.
Must be 21 plus. Available in Indiana only. Void where prohibited. Terms and conditions apply. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hey, it's JMV for CarX Tire and Auto, serving the Indianapolis market for over 40 years. 14 Central Indiana, Joe Childers run locations of CarX. I'm talking absolutely everything for your car, truck, or van. Full service auto repair specialists. We're talking brakes, tires, engine alignments, exhaust, oil changes, all that and more. And how about this for a JMV special? $109.99 lifetime brake pads per axle and save $200 on a set of 4 select Continental tires. Those are the JMV specials. 14 Central Indiana CarX locations to serve you. Car, truck, or van, they have exactly what you're looking for. Full service auto repair all in one place. Tell Joe Childers I sent you. 14 Central Indiana CarX locations. There is one near you. Find out where it is online today. It's CarX.com.
This is another ad about hiring. But it's not just another ad about hiring. R.E. Diamond & Associates has opened a special position for the right person. If you or someone you know is just out of college or is in college studying electrical engineering or a related field, this job may be perfect for you and your future career growth. You'll get hands-on experience with lighting and power technology. You'll learn real-world skills like building design, utilizing 3D modeling with Revit, and you'll get competitive pay with a benefits package while doing it.
Hi, this is James Darnell. I'm the Vice President of Information and Communications Technology with R.E. Diamond & Associates. Our expertise, integrity, and organizational culture make us a great place to start a career. Our staff averages 16 years with the company, and the majority of our clients are repeat ones. We emphasize service and respect for our customers, one another, and our environment.
To find out more, Google R.E. Diamond. That's R.E. Diamond. Or to speak with an R.E. Diamond representative, call 317-634-4672.
Hey, JMV, need game tickets for the Colts game? Buy Colts tickets today at bullseyeeventgroup.com. Need tickets to the Colts VIP tailgate? Buy them today at bullseyeeventgroup.com. If you need tickets to the Colts game and tickets to the Colts VIP tailgate, buy your game tickets today and add the VIP tailgate to make it a Colts ticket and a tailgate combo. Buy that today at bullseyeeventgroup.com. The absolute best for your game day experience. Do it now. bullseyeeventgroup.com.
Turn to the experts at Howald Heating and Carrier for all your plumbing needs. Howald Heating, Air, and Plumbing, where you can trust your flush to us.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis. South Carolina hosts Georgia in college football action. Saturday at noon on 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
Bullish Brents hanging and banging with you until the 8 o'clock hour. Coming up, we have artists such as Living Color and the Fine Young Cannibals right now. Here's Roxette, The Look, 89.9 WROL.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
There it is. Snap, placement. Kick is on its way. It's up, and it is no good.
Matt Taylor, Colts Radio right there. That could have been the game winner, and it wasn't. Instead, it was the game tire. 2020 yesterday. Where are we with teams around here where the lone redeeming quality we have with yesterday is a tie? We in a good spot? Making too much out of that? Good spot, bad spot? Hey, listen, I gave you positives. I gave you Taylor. I gave you Pittman Jr. Grover Stewart. I talked about Grover Stewart. But Stephon Gilmore. Kwity Paye had a couple of sacks in one series, in fact. Give you 5 right there. I'm sorry if I just sit here and think that the lone redeeming quality is a tie in the midst of talking about a game where 3 quarters, this team didn't look prepared to do anything. It was a terrible 3 quarters of football. It just was. And in fact, when you think about it longer term, they have played horribly in 7 out of 8 of their last quarters of football, even with the changes. You just kind of lower the bar when you go, hey, well, this is what happened. You tied, and you're not talking about that enough. And it's like we lost by 30. No, it's not like this team lost by 30. It's like, how in the world do you come out and look like that for such an extended period of time? Like Ben and Greenwood said, hey, the best defense and the best quarterback was on Houston's side yesterday. No, it wasn't. Wasn't at all. The Colts just flip-flopped and mistaked their way to what happened yesterday. Houston was all but trying to melt it down and give it away. That's how Houston should have looked earlier. Why did it take 3 quarters to get to that point? Was Houston just gassed? A little out of their element? Lovie Smith goes for the tie. Plays for the tie. To me, if it's different, and I'll give you why. If you're the Colts, and I know we talked about that 4th down situation where they didn't, and I thought that they absolutely were. But if you're the Colts at this point, I think that certainly the tie is better than the loss. If you're Houston, I don't know what you have to lose this season, but go for everything. That's just obviously where the bars are set. But no, there were some good things yesterday, but you tell me how great you feel. That's why I want you to answer this Connecticut Water question of the day. You feel like this team now is set up to where they played in the fourth quarter, or more going to be like what we saw in the first three? It's just inexplicable how you looked that bad for so long. And all the things you did, all the things that you changed up, all the off-season conversation, the training camp adjustments that you made, and then you come out there and you look like that. And we had a caller earlier that talked about, well, they did, get on a drive, and, was Alec Pierce. There are a number of things that changed the complexion of this game. Alec Pierce certainly among them at the beginning. And then that fourth down call by Frank Reich, which was awful. And then ultimately it all ended with Blankenship, who, may find himself, if they view somebody else that they could bring in and go with right now, he probably is finding himself this afternoon on thin ice with this team. And it's rightly so. I don't know what confidence level anybody might have in him right now. And team-wise, Frank Reich can say what he wants, but, truly, are you? I don't know. I'm not in the guy's head. I'm not going to try to break him down what might be going through his head, but it would stand to reason after a couple of gaffes with those kickoffs that maybe you didn't have the highest level of confidence going into that make-or-break final kick that he missed. But he missed it bad. Well, he missed it bad. You make the argument of how the Colts played it. I will say this, that 3rd and 5 play, they were trying to run that wide receiver drag with Michael Pittman Jr. that, if you remember earlier in the game, was a big deal. Went for big yardage. They tried to run that, and Houston's defense did sniff that out. That's one of the rare things they did sniff out in that fourth quarter, because nothing else was really going right for the Texans whatsoever. That did. I don't know if that saved the game. Maybe it did. If you get for a big gainer, then you ultimately can score a touchdown. You don't have to worry about the kicker. It's funny, too, you go back. Remember, I had a couple of a-holes that were all over me about, you're just talking about the kicker. Why are we talking about the kicker? It's a pretty damn big deal yesterday, wasn't it? Pretty big deal talking about the kicker. Kind of where you are right now. There's Mac. Sign up for these Chiefs-Colts tickets. Week 3, courtesy of Bud Light. Buffalo Wild Wings. We are downtown. This is going to be a staple for the season at many a Buffalo Wild Wings location throughout central Indiana. This first one here downtown on Washington Street. It is a Bud Light Blue Monday. All right, calls. I owe you 239-1070. Email address is, make sure I have this right for you guys all here because I screwed this up a little bit earlier, JMV at radio-1.com if you guys want to send something there. JMV at radio1- let me get that right one more time, radio-1.com. Send me your emails that way, or you can tweet. You can get inside the lounge via YouTube Live. All those means and measures work for us on this Reaction Monday. I'm not going to say overreaction, baloney. Baloney. And I'm also not going to buy into you saying, you guys love negativity. That is also bogus. Want to know why? Because things work out better. Our numbers are better. People are more excited. People are happier when they win. I would much rather be talking about a win. I'd much rather be talking about a way a team played well. Not this. Want to know why else? This is tired. We talk about this way too much. But again, we are placed in a position to where this is your take. Because this is what you see. If they played well, I would tell you about it. If this wasn't a big deal, I would tell you about it. If this hadn't been a consistency in 7 of the last 8 quarters, I would tell you about it. Just like I told you how well 28 and 11 played. Now, this is not some ploy. This is not some money maker, ratings getter thing. That all is baloney, and that's coming from people that are just too stupid. Life is much better for everybody when your favorite team, especially around here, wins. That's just been all too unfamiliar territory over the months and years around here. Maybe it's just no longer recognizable. But to suggest we just want to sit around here and be negative about this team is really a dumb take, because it's absolutely not true. You guys want sunshine blown up most of your rear ends about your favorite team. It's just tough to do that on a day like today after what we witnessed yesterday. 239-1070. Let's go Scott on board up next after 5. Hello, Scott. How are you?
Really well, JV. I love your show.
Thank you, Scott.
By the way, I think you're right on track with this team right now. This pattern that we're getting into, starting last year with the Oakland game, then the Jacksonville game, then yesterday. If you stop and think about it, what's the common denominator in all this? It's Frank Reich.
It is.
I mean, yesterday you'd have thought the Colts were taking the field against a Don Shula team or a Tom Landry team or something, because the other Houston came out ready to play. The Colts didn't come out ready to play, and that's all on Frank Reich. And then when they go down there and at that fourth down play, someone please just get this in his head. Either kick the field goal or trust your offensive line. Because the more you try to trick these defenses, the more all you're doing is just firing that defense up, because they're thinking, man, they're scared of us. And the rest of that game, after we didn't convert that, Houston was full of all kinds of energy. So, yeah, we had a lot of problems yesterday. I'm not trying to excuse anybody, but the bottom line is Frank Reich.
No, and you're right. We talk about the reason why this team has struggled at the beginning of seasons, and everything has been adjusted. It's been different quarterbacks. There's now been a different defensive coordinator. We've talked about different personnel. They've adjusted the protocol, a training camp for it, and the common theme, as you rightly mentioned, is the head coach. No question about it.
He just doesn't have them prepared to play, and I just don't get why people can't see that.
Well, here's part of it, because people, and I don't blame people, I mean, people want to talk positively about something, and you don't just get the opportunity, and let's just say it for the way that should be saved. The Colts did save a little bit of face yesterday by getting a tie, but I just, from my standpoint, watching those first three quarters, it still doesn't match up positively enough with what they did in the fourth quarter, because I still question why they looked so bad for most of that game yesterday when you had the entire offseason to focus in on how to get off to a better start. And in fact, that was probably a much worse start than they got off to this time a year ago in week number 1. It's just inexplicable to me, and that all goes on the shoulders of the head coach every day.
Yeah, and I'm getting so tired of him just when he does these interviews with the media, just praising his team. Let's let the team show that on the field first. And I'm just gonna leave it to you to say.
Hey, thank you for the call. I appreciate that. First of all, that's what Frank Reich does. Frank Reich is always going to back up his team, always going to back up his individuals. At least to the media, at least out in the open. And that probably is, a part of his background as a player, as a leader at quarterback, trying to keep everybody up, trying to keep everybody positive, as he did as a player, as a quarterback back in the NFL. So if you're looking for somebody, to call out somebody, it's just not going to be him. It's kind of up to us with that. It's not going to be him. He's not going to do that publicly whatsoever. And you knew that getting into it. The problem that you have, and I'm not at all, again, suggesting he's on any hot seat right now. There's not. He just isn't. But a game like that and a disappointing season, if it goes down that way, will definitely put him on that. Without question. I mentioned the visuals or the optics or whatever a little bit earlier. That all is going to count. That's going to weigh. Mark asked this: when do you start talking about the importance of Jacksonville, the king of must-win? I started that. That's been a premium game all along. If you can't see that, then you're not going to ever be able to see anything. I mean, at least you tied, at least you didn't lose, and at least you're hanging out in a division that stinks. But why wouldn't that be? Got 3 quarters of awful football yesterday. 1 quarter of good. Hopefully you take the baton and run with that after the 4th. I just don't know how many people are going to believe with that. By the way, Blankenship's situation is as follows. Frank really wouldn't go into any detail on what they may end up doing with their place kicker that struggled yesterday. But at least from people that were covering it out there a little bit earlier, that press conference, it did not seem like that there was a great deal of confidence. I didn't hear it, so I don't really know exactly how it was said. But I think the way that he mentioned this, that he and Chris Ballard are going to have conversations, as they do about everybody evaluation-wise, but it certainly sounded read like earlier today that they're going to look around, and you have to. I mean, you owe it to your team. You absolutely have to. You can't have that. Cannot have that at the kick. That was a question. You brought somebody else in. That somebody else floundered around here in Jake Verdi in training camp. I mean, you have to take this seriously. This is not like going back a couple of years ago where you just relied upon, Adam Vinatieri, being the GOAT. And you messed around with that, and that bit you. This bit you yesterday. You cannot let this be a prolonged negative situation. You can't. We've already been down that path before, and people were understanding of that at the time because you just expected Vinatieri, the future Hall of Famer, to jump out of it and be Vinatieri again, which he wasn't. But we've seen this one before. You can't mess around with it again. No question about that. All right, 239-1070 is the number. Stefan is up next. Stefan, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's happening, Jay?
I'm hanging out at Buffalo Wild Wings with Bud Light and talking Colts football. Wish it had been a better outcome, but what are you going to do?
Well, the thing about it is this, man. It's literally Frank Reich's in-game adjustments are horrible. He does not, for some odd reason, it's like he hung Pierce out to dry. After the 3rd drop, I'm like, and then you put Mike Strawn in, and then he catches it, he's going. So why not just stick with what's hot, as opposed to just trying to stick to what you're already game planning? It's not working, so adjust. You don't have to go all the way away from it. But at the same time, you can't kick a ball out of bounds in the critical moment and get them all the way to the 40, then miss the kick. And I'm like, at this point, man, I want to blame the players, but, man, it's really Frank, man. He's the problem.
Oh, you can blame the players. You can blame the players, but Frank is the leader of the players. And when the issues like this, Stefan, continue to happen, he's going to be the one that's going to get blamed first. So, there's no doubt you can blame the players for that, too. I mean, you can blame, people are on me because, Kwity Paye had 2 sacks. But, I say the offensive line stunk. No, I should say the defensive line stunk and wasn't really what I expected it to be for the better part of 3 quarters, and then Kwity Paye ended up getting a couple of sacks in the same series. Give him credit. Give Grover Stewart credit because he stepped up big late. But they were an absolute non-factor and detrimental through the first 3 quarters of that, much like I view, in similar fashion, the offensive line. Because you can see Matt Ryan, either you blame the wide receivers for not being able to get open, or you blame the offensive line for not being able to hold blocks and pass protection long enough. Matt Ryan was doing a lot of scrambling and a lot of ball padding before he's throwing that football yesterday. He just was.
And it was scary because the part that makes it, I know it's week 1, but the part that's scary is I understand Matt's in a new system and he's trying to adapt and get ready to play and get in there. So I kind of expected him not to just come out and ball out and go crazy. But at the same time, I'm still you can't be dropping the ball like that. It's not like he wasn't hitting them in the bread basket. He was hitting them in the bread basket, and they still was dropping it. So that's the part that scares me is just when you feel the game and you see the shift, you just can't stick with it, Frank. You're literally just destroying the morale of the team by sticking with it. And then by the 4th quarter hits, like I said, a couple plays hit, and then everything changed. He's got to get a better pulse of the team because at this rate, we're not going to do nothing.
Hey, Stefan, thank you for the call. Getting back to Alec Pierce for a moment, too, you look at that play, and, that was the direction change of that game. Think about it. You score there, maybe you go on, maybe you go up 10-0, and things dramatically could change. But you drop that, and that's problematic. And while you're critical of that, as I had told you, all the way back to the summer, all the way back in the spring, don't over-expect on a rookie wide receiver. And all I got in response was, well, hey, look what Justin Jefferson did early in Minnesota. What did, Jamar Chase do a year ago? What have Jalen Waddle, what are all these guys doing early in their career? We're talking about different dudes with longer-term success collegially than one season that Alec Pierce had. I have a belief that he's going to be good. But I certainly didn't have any belief that he was going to be huge in week number 1, and you're probably going to have to wait a little bit longer. And I will tell you this, I'm glad he just got up yesterday because my man took a wallop over the middle, helmet-to-helmet wise. I mean, a wallop. I still think he's going to be good, but I wasn't silly enough to expect it was going to happen. And now listen, still, when a ball hits you like that in your hands, you got to catch it. But that's just why we've always talked about with the pass catchers in mind, you've got to have guys that have been there and done that as well. And they have basically won. They have won when you think about it. Paris Campbell hadn't been healthy enough. What do you have yesterday? 3 targets, I think? 4 targets. Hadn't been healthy enough. Ashton Doolin is a guy. Patman was inactive. Nyheim Hines had, I think, 6 receptions on the day. But you needed to really, other teams did go out and address that. Kansas City went out to address that, for example. Other teams went out and addressed that, but you kind of fall into that trap. And maybe it works out, but you just can't over-expect for guys like that. Even where you deem something incredibly catchable in the end zone like that. Told you not to over-expect. And it was a struggle for the rookie wide receiver yesterday, without question. A couple of drops in that game. See if it gets better. It will get better. I do believe that he is going to be a good wide receiver, but I didn't expect it early. JP is up next at 239-1070. JP, go ahead.
Oh, this is Logan. But
hey, Logan, my bad. Go ahead, Logan. Sorry about that.
No, I think I agree with a lot of things that you're saying so far. I think Alex Pierce, I liked some of the things he did, but I agree. I mean, if the ball hits you in the hands, you got to catch it. But some of the things I wanted to talk about were, through the first 3 quarters, going back to kind of what Frank said in his press conference after the game, if you're having that much offensive production, you can't make a mistake at a crucial moment to just get rid of all that production. And I think some of that can be cleaned up, but I also think, going back to the 4th down call that Reich had on the 2, I just don't understand the Wildcat play. I mean, just run a regular run play to JT. I just don't understand some of that, and I think, could you have taken the points? Sure, but I mean, who knows? I would hope that Blankenship could have made a kick from the 2, but he couldn't make one from the 42. So I do think that's still an issue, but I have some hope, considering how much production they had, that if they clean up some of the ticky-tack mistakes, and if Matt Ryan can hold on to a snap, that we'll be all right for next week.
Hey, Logan, thank you for the call. I appreciate it. I do agree with you on this, and I brought this up a little bit earlier, and that falls in line with my suggestion that it wasn't about what the Texans did yesterday. It was about what the Colts did. And what the Colts did negatively. Or I guess better said, what the Colts didn't do yesterday. I mean, all this stuff, with the exception to me of any reasonable number 2 man pass catcher right now, all that stuff can be made up. Mistakes can be made up. Special teams gaffes can be made up. Better offensive line play better be expected. Defensive line as well. So if you want to look at one positive that went through yesterday, look at it this way. The Colts' issue of being tied at 20-all, it was their fault. It was all on them. It was nothing incredible that Houston did. And I know people are going to say, well, you got to give them a little bit of credit. No, I'm just not going to. Rewatch those first 3 quarters and then watch how bad they were. Not only is all that stuff correctable, but it better be correctable. Because if it's not, again, head coach is going to have a problem. A large portion of that is because that loss was on this team yesterday. Wasn't so much what Houston did to win it, but it was on them for what the Colts did to end up with that tie. Or in this case, didn't do. Buffalo Wild Wings downtown, Bud Light. We're on a Blue Monday. Chiefs-Colts tickets we're going to give away before we're out of here as well. We got that and more at 239-1070. Coming back with you next.
Put on your helmet. It's about to get real.
You have absolutely got to, if you are the Colts, just stay healthy. Don't get your best players hurt. And I understand that people say, well, no kidding, dummy. No kidding. You're so stupid. Yes, I'm so stupid. I will accept being stupid if that is stupid. Alec Pierce and Matt Ryan are on my fantasy team, damn it. So you got to stay healthy.
Dan Dockage, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, John, for BullseyeEventGroup.com, the Colts VIP tailgate is presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. All you can eat, all you can drink. DJ Skids with the preparation right before every Colts home game. And again, that is week number 3, the home opener against the Chiefs. Make sure you got your passes for that inside the Bullseye Event Center and tickets to the game as well. And don't forget, coming up in November, we're all going to Vegas for the Colts and the Raiders matchup. We got a flight to and from Caesars Palace stay, Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration, Vegas style, and tickets to the game. All you got to do right now is log on and make sure you're a part of it. For either week 3 in that home opener to be a part of the Colts VIP tailgate, or on the road we go to Vegas in November. Log on, make sure you're a part of all the action with BullseyeEventGroup.com.
Text Spartan to the Mower Shop in Fishers at 317-849-9500 for $500 off select Spartan mowers with instant rebate on extended warranty. TheMowerShop.com.
Record-breaking country music superstar Luke Combs. Live in concert. The World Tour comes to Indianapolis with special guests Riley Green, Lainey Wilson, Flatland Cavalry, and Brent Cobb. Lucas Oil Stadium, Saturday, April 1st. Get tickets this Friday at 10 a.m. at lukecombs.com. Produced by AEG Presents.
Jay Query here. Are you ready for Thursday Night Football? Feel the excitement of opening night with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. DraftKings is giving new customers a can't-miss offer to celebrate the start of a new season. Bet just $5 on Thursday's game and get $200 in free bets instantly. And as an added bonus for Thursday, everyone can experience the thrill of DraftKings early win promotion. It's simple. Bet on Buffalo or LA to win. If your team leads by 7 at any point during the game, you get paid even if your team loses. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code 1075FAN to get $200 in free bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on Thursday Night Football. That's code 1075FAN only at DraftKings Sportsbook app, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older, Indiana only. Bonus issued as free bets. One early win token issued at opt-in. Moneyline bets only. Deposit and wagering restrictions apply. Eligibility and terms at DraftKings.com/football. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hey, Johnny for PAI, WeGrowHairIndy.com. Your real growing hair again is just a phone call away. Darren Andrews got your back on it, too. If you're thinking about doing something about your bald spot, about maybe regrowing your hair again, just know that help is out there for you. The technology you're looking for, the place that you will love. Your real growing hair again. Darren Andrews and PAI, 888-724-5129 or WeGrowHairIndy.com today.
In St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, the beach is just the beginning. Because here, there's so much more to explore. So let's paddle, and maybe even parasail. Let's hit the trails, the coffee shops, the quaint boutiques, and craft breweries. And then let's indulge in some fresh seafood with a sea view. From the Gulf Coast to the Bay, there's something for every taste and every interest. So let's make the most of every sun-drenched minute, and let's shine. Start planning your next escape at visitstpeteclearwater.com.
Hey, it's CarX to the rescue. 14 Central Indiana CarX locations. By the way, Joe Childers and CarX, the official sponsor of the high school football game of the week. Every Friday right here in our conversations every Friday with Bob Lovell as well. 14 Central Indiana locations. Everything that you need done to your car, truck, or van, they can do at your 14 Central Indiana CarX locations. Brakes, tires, oil changes, anything mechanically speaking, Joe Childers and the gang have your back. To find that location nearest you, one of the 14, it's CarX.com today.
Our average client received over $54,000 with a simple cash-out refinance. Learn more today at thehomeloanexpert.com.
NMLS number 1326241.
Put on your helmet. It's about to get real.
All right, Chappie, here it is. We're on our 110th quarterback. We don't have a homegrown guy at left tackle. And coming off the catastrophe in Jacksonville, can this team win something this year?
Yeah, I think they can win the AFC South. The moves they've done tells everyone that they think that they should win the AFC South. And if not, the owner's going to be upset.
Dan Dockage, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
You just got your asses whipped by a bunch of damn nerds.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
The Colts have 8 players away from the ball, about 10 yards away from the line of scrimmage. This is really a prevent. Yep. Davis Mills backs to throw. He's shuffled out of the pocket left side. He's tracked down from behind by Quiddy Pay. His second sack on that drive in overtime. Quiddy Pay, welcome back. And now it's 4th down and 25.
Yeah, 2 sacks for Pay in year number 2 in the same series right there. Matt Taylor, Rick Venturi on the call on the Colts Radio Network. A little conversation with the Colts coming up here at the top of the hour, correct? That starts tonight, right, Kyle?
Yep, Colts Roundtable Live tonight, 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock coming up with Matt and the gang. Top of the hour here this evening. We're at Buffalo Wild Wings downtown with our start to the Bud Light Blue Monday with Chiefs and Colts tickets to give away. I'm going to talk to Chad in just a second about that. 239-1070 is the number. Mark asked this, all right, be calm, which I think I'm incredibly calm. You're not going to find anybody more calm than me talking about this, but, this is a part of the show. You have to address negativity. You got to be critical about stuff, and there's plenty to be critical about and negative about from yesterday. No way around it. But Mark asked this question. What perceived problems can they try to address right now? Like, only kicker, not the coach, not quarterback, not wide receiver. Well, it was a mistake-ridden performance yesterday. I mean, you start right there. Mistakes, lack of execution, better play calls from the coach, which is coach-oriented. But this team was not even sketchy at best. Decision-making-wise, it was bad. There are just a myriad of mistakes out there. And especially, as I mentioned, through the first 3 quarters. And I don't know about you guys. I hold both sides of the line at a much higher standard of play than what we witnessed yesterday. Offensive line and defensive line. Just a much higher standard. Maybe that's higher than maybe so, whatever. That's why I mentioned a little bit earlier, if you want to find outside of a tie and not a loss, or outside of, Michael Pittman Jr., or what you fall from Jonathan Taylor or Grover Stewart, Quiddy Pay from that highlight, if you want to look for the positive, they can just make up a lot of positive ground by playing like they have some sense and not making mistakes. Not dropping the snap. Now, there's plenty of stuff they can do on their own. That's why I mentioned, I felt, to me, that was more of a letdown for me because this team did it to themselves more than I thought the Texans did it to them yesterday. So if you want to start right there, you can certainly start right there. Craig is up next at 239-1070. Hello, Craig.
How's it going? So,
Craig, I'm fantastic. Go ahead.
First and foremost, I just can't get over the mediocrity standard by Colts fans. I have talked to multiple people today that are just like, well, it's a tie. We didn't lose. When did that become okay as a standard of a Colts fan here in the city of Indianapolis? Maybe if Colts fans were up in arms or raising their blood pressure a little bit more so like I am, maybe the Colts franchise would put Frank Reich a little bit more on the hot seat and get him out. We played against the Texans. You put the Colts up against the Bucs, the Chiefs, the Raiders, the Chargers, any of these other AFC powerhouses. We've got people predicting the Colts to be 12-5, 13-4. We're expecting to win the division and play deep into the playoffs, and we can't beat the Texans? This is one of the easiest games on the entire schedule. Like, I am just dumbfounded and astounded by this. Now, you want to talk about Alec Pierce as well. Granted, the kid's a rookie, but he could not catch a cold. Our number 2 wide receiver can't catch a cold. Now, and you talk about him getting hit, that was reminiscent of Austin Collie. I'm sorry. But he
got whacked pretty good. Yeah, he did.
He did. MPJ and JT were the 2 big highlights of that. You want to pay a guard $20 million a year, then guess what? Make him work for it. The Colts' priorities are skewed. I think we've got bigger problems than just Frank Reich at this moment. I hate to say it because I was buying into what they were selling, and I said, you know what? I see the Colts can go 12-5. If we're going to be the team that they're telling us that we are now, I see the Colts going 12-5. I tell you what, JMV, after yesterday's game, I am not. The outlook is not so good. My magic 8 ball is telling me it's not going to be a good season for the Colts. What do you think?
Craig, thank you for the call. I had them. My prediction was 10. 10 wins. When you think about a couple of different things yesterday, the reason why people bring up, and this is kind of a two-sided coin, if you will, Craig, people bring up the tie as being better than a loss because in actuality it is. But I agree with you as far as the mentality is concerned. That has been the mentality around here with most teams for a while. It has. This is not just an issue with the Colts, for example. You as a fan are willing to grasp upon any glimmer, any ray of positivity because it's been fleeting. It's been few and far between with all of these teams that I cover and that you root for a while. You can certainly make exceptions to the statement I just made, but for the most part, that is absolutely true. They have brought down the level of expectation on a day-to-day basis for a lot of this. And it's not going to be raised until somebody breaks that mold, until somebody breaks that chain. So, Craig, to answer your question, people are absolutely right. We'll see how it goes down because it's tough to know right now. That tie is going to play a role later on in the season. We'll see how it goes. It all depends on how it goes within the AFC South, or how it goes within the AFC in general. Now, that's something you can't come up. But right now, a tie in this division is better than a loss. But I agree with you. I hate the mentality because that is a mentality of a lot that has become a significant issue. The reason why this is an issue around here now is because the bar is not set as high with all these teams as it used to be, as it should be. So I hate the mentality, but people that say that, Craig, are absolutely right. All right, Chad is here, the general manager of Buffalo Wild Wings here downtown. Good to see you, brother. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Man, thanks for having us today. This is the first Bud Light Blue Monday we have had at a Buffalo Wild Wings location this season. I wish we were talking about a win and better things, but we aren't. Truth be told, though, we're talking about great food and a place to watch Monday Night Football tonight, which is all good.
Always, yeah. It's always great to be in here to watch football and have an ice-cold Bud Light.
How long have you been working out of here?
I've been with Buffalo Wild Wings for almost 12 years. Been downtown since January.
Downtown? Where were you prior to?
I've been up in West Lafayette, and I was actually down in Miami, Florida the last 5 years.
Were you really? So give me an example of the Miami, Florida Buffalo Wild Wings compared to the West Lafayette or the downtown Washington Street locations.
Well, down there, the Dolphins fans are definitely very fair weather fans.
Yeah.
We always had a pretty good crowd in there. I had about 5 Colts fans that I'd set them up every week, and we had a good time.
It's funny, man. You look at, I mentioned this about, the mentality of fans around here just kind of accepting a little bit less. Miami's a hell of an example of that in terms of the Dolphins.
Oh, yeah.
Because their success has been so few and far between over recent history that, you go with a game like yesterday and have at it with Bill Belichick and beat the Patriots like that. And, it's probably like down there they've won a South Florida Super Bowl of sorts.
Oh, yeah, that's what I have some good friends still down there, and they said yesterday was absolutely nuts. I mean, them beating the Patriots is just like us beating the Patriots up here.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, tell everybody how late you're open, specials and all that with our friends at Bud Light.
Definitely. We'll be open till 11 o'clock tonight, 11 o'clock Sunday through Wednesday, and then open till midnight Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But come on in tonight. We've got Bud Light, ice cold, serving at 34 degrees.
Yes.
$2.75. You can't beat that. 66 TVs. Not a bad seat in the house. Come out.
You guys got trivia running too?
Oh yeah, trivia every Wednesday night. Where you can play at any time though.
What kind of trivia is it? I'm an ass whipping trivia guy here. People know that for sure.
I'm pretty bad, but they've got all kinds of questions on there. Sports, movies, everything.
Trivia Wednesday nights in here?
Wednesday night's a big night, but you can come in anytime and it's always on.
Because you can't play. Trivia's always going here, right?
Always.
There's somebody always playing. You got interactive nationwide trivia.
Yeah, you can play against other people here in store, people across the country.
Nice.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Chad, thanks for having us, man.
Yeah.
That is Chad. Ask for Chad, the general manager of Buffalo Wild Wings downtown, whenever you pay a visit here. And they'll give you fantastic service.
Awesome. Well, thanks
again,
in.
Chad. Thank you, my friends at Zinc and Bud Light, for having us as well. Before we're out of here, Chiefs-Colts tickets are going to draw for a little bit later on, too, coming up. More to come, including Colts Roundtable Live at the top of the hour. That follows this show on a Monday reaction to a tie. 2020 in Houston yesterday in week number 1 for the Colts and the Texans. We'll come back for a final time with you. Great job today inside the lounge via YouTube Live as well. Everybody in participation today. I appreciate that. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Tune in to The Ride with JMV 3 to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday for a chance to call in and win tickets to see Luke Combs on April 1st at Lucas Oil Stadium.
Verizon Connect has a new AI dash cam with dual cameras. It's sleek, simple, and easy to install. Oh, and did I mention it's AI smart? It'll give your team real-time alerts.
Tailgating.
And each video is automatically classified and sent to your team, giving you context to help coach your drivers. Best yet, it seamlessly works in one platform that tracks your vehicles, dispatches jobs, and much more. See how Verizon Connect can help manage your fleet at VerizonConnect.com/radio.
Hey, it's JMV here for Caesar Sportsbook and the Caesar Sportsbook Report. First things first, your first bet with Caesar Sportsbook. Well, it's on Caesar Sportsbook, up to $1,250. And all you have to do is download the app and use the promo code RADIOFULL. Can you please write that down and make sure you utilize it? You make me look really good. RADIOFULL. Radio Full, and then place your first bet. If you win, congratulations. If not, you get your stake back as a free bet. Colts are 4-point favorites in Jacksonville this weekend. Oh, you better check that out. Again, the Colts are 4-point favorite as of right now in Jacksonville this weekend. And you can utilize that within the Caesars Sportsbook, and it's more of the best because Caesars brings you Caesars rewards and doing things for you that only Caesars Sportsbook can do. For example, tickets, free stays, experiences, and more with Caesars Sportsbook. Open to new users in Indiana, 21 years or older. Qualifying bet loses, well, that bet amount returned as site credit. Must use within 14 days. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
People are driving from all over to take advantage of Diamonds Direct's incredible finance offer. For a limited time, you can make any purchase and spread your payments over 5 years with zero interest. Imagine that $4,000 pair of diamond stud earrings for just $68 a month. That $10,000 designer ring for just $168 a month. With this offer, you don't have to compromise. But hurry, this is a limited time offer. 5 years, zero interest. Start your forever with Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. Get details at diamondsdirect.com and approved credit.
Fall in Indy. And since 2001, Rhino Shield has been covering Indiana homes and businesses. Just ask Mike.
I was watching TV one night and saw the Rhino Shield ad, and I thought, well, if they can do a house, they can probably do a building.
And Rhino Shield's not paint, it's better.
So they came out and they gave me a price, showed me how the Rhino works, how it lasts, and how the guarantee works.
All right, Indy, get the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
They started on the building. They waited for us to leave, and they worked Saturday and Sunday so they wouldn't affect our business at all. This was the great part of it. I came back Sunday night, and you couldn't even tell they were here. There was no paint on the ground. They did a fantastic job.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl. Go Rhino.
Don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Take the next step in your construction career by becoming a union carpenter.
Some of the best pay in the industry.
Amazing health and retirement benefits.
Ongoing cutting-edge training.
Creating my own career path so I can do what I love.
High safety standards.
Great employment opportunities. Why will you join the Carpenters Union? Join the 75,000 men and women in Indiana who build our communities. For more information, visit the Construction Industry Partnership at indianacip.com.
I'm not letting this tie go. We're going to continue to talk and talk and talk about it. Chappie will join us. We're going to discuss the AFC South and its ineptness. Join me tomorrow, noon to 3.
The Ride with JMV.
I want savages on the field. I want to lead the league in broken ribs. I want to put people in the hospital legally, no hitting in the head. I want them to cry and be scared to play us.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Welcome back. Shane Palmer writes this at JMV 1070. The Colts and Houston tie is a perfect summary of the Reich and Ballard era. Mediocrity at its finest. He's Shane for that tweet. Back at Buffalo Wild Wings downtown. Bud Light Blue Monday. Chiefs Colts tickets in a minute. Albert and Dustin are here. Albert, you brought a robot for us too. What's up with the robot?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So Dusty and I were part of Arbuckle Pringle Robotics, and we're part of a startup company that specializes in autonomous delivery robots. Whether it's,
can you put my face on that thing?
Absolutely.
I want my face on a robot.
Your face, a voice message, whatever you want. So,
I can put a voice. Oh,
absolutely. It can dance.
Can you go around saying that's jackassery or that's dumbassery or something like that? Yeah, absolutely. A little JMV speaking there too. You going to bring this every single time?
Yes, sir.
Albert, that's awesome. Dusty, shout out to you as well, man. Thanks for coming. Yeah. We'll get Dusty on next time when he's with us as well. So every single Monday, does the robot have a name?
It can be named whatever you want. JMV.
Oh, really? Does it change often? Have you called it anything so far?
Probably not for the radio. I'm kidding. No, depending on the spot, we give different names. But yeah, it could be named whatever you want.
Is it as useful as R2-D2 was?
A little bit more useful, I'd say. But I'm biased, right? So
I like it.
Absolutely.
All right, Albert. Every single Buffalo Wild Wings Bud Light Blue Monday, you're going to bring the robot.
Yes, sir.
And we'll call it the JMV. Right, JMV.
Why not, right?
That's what it's going to be named throughout the football season. Albert,
I love it.
Thank you very much, man. Thanks for coming out. Dusty, thanks for having. We'll talk with you next time as well. We're going to be at various Buffalo Wild Wings locations every single Monday, and I'm telling you, we will hit a location near you, and we're going to be giving away tickets every single time as well. So, again, make sure your Mondays, and I'm sure further down the road, the reaction will be much better than this particular tie, but your opportunity to join us on Mondays with Bud Light at, again, various Buffalo Wild Wings locations. I know that the week after next, I can't remember where we are next week. You guys know which one? It's okay. You don't have to check. But I know in like the week after next week, we're going 2 weeks from today, as it would stand. We'll be in Bloomington off the Bloomfield Road location of Buffalo Wild Wings. So, yeah, we're going to Bloomington, Columbus, Lebanon, all around central Indiana, which is fantastic. Kyle, any other calls left before we get to Colts Roundtable Live at the top of the hour? Anybody I need to get to? Or we don't have time. I hear the music right here. I tell you what, if I didn't get to you today, call back tomorrow. We'll have a similar conversation, I'm sure. I got to thank our good friends at Zinc. They are so great to us. Jim Jr. and the gang, thanks for all that you do for us with Bud Light. And what you do on Fridays, and certainly now what you're doing this season on Mondays with our Bud Light Blue Monday at Buffalo Wild Wings. Thank you, Chad, for having us as well. Great job out of UCAM today. The on-site engineer, Sienna, is always spectacular. Kyle, back at the station, thank you very much. We're going to give away our Chiefs Colts tickets, courtesy of Bud Light next. Billy, Music Matt, great to see you guys as well. All right, tomorrow back in studio, and then a busy week on Thursday and Friday. I'll tell you where we're going to be. Enjoy Monday Night Football tonight. Tell Chad here at Buffalo Wild Wings we sent you if you're downtown off of Washington Street. But up next, Colts Roundtable Live. Matt Taylor and the gang have your back here on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Have a great night.